Hey guys, I'm introducing Kevin Nealon, one of my all-time favorites. I won't be doing it with Dana. He's in traffic, and so I hurry and rushed and did it by myself because then I get to be me. Sometimes when I send an email, I put subject, me. Sometimes I don't. You know, it's going to be a strug without Dana. You're going to have to strug through, folks. Strug it up. Kevin Nealon, by the way, Kevin Nealon has a book out. You know, Kevin, he does caricatures, is that fair to say? Cartoons. He's great at it. I don't know if he's done the Spade Man, but he's done a bunch, and I see him on his Instagram. But the book is called I Exaggerate My Brushes with Fame. Classic Kevin Nealon, very clever title. He paints or something, you know, in the brush. Do you get it? Oh my God, I'm not going to walk you through all of them. Okay. By the way, I saw Miles Teller the other night. I was at a undisclosed Hollywood hotspot. And I said, if you ever host SNL, you should have them all lined up in the monologue, the whole cast, and just name them all. Sponge bath, popcorn, camel toe. Who would fucking kill? If you want to kill. Do you want to bomb? Do something else. And then you could add this noise when the plane flies over. If you want. Call that, I'll call it in. Anyway, Kevin is great with his jokes because you know what he does? He doesn't put any spin on them. He puts nothing. And I loved it because I used to do stand-up. When I started, I was at the Improv and I'd see his name on the chalkboard. I always say this. But it was like Paul Reiser, Jay Leno, Jerry Seinfeld, Jeff Altman, like all these great comics. And I got to bring them up. They made me be an MC for a while. So I'd have to go and go, what do you want me to say about you? And I go, just say I've been on Merv Griffin, Carson, and, you know, Mike Douglas. These are old shows. And I'd go, okay, whatever they are. Open for Joanne Worley and Phyllis Dill. You know, it was like back in the day. So, but Nealon was always one of the ones I'd watch. And I go, God, he does not put any spin on it. Driest stuff. The most throwaway jokes. And I was sort of patterning after that. Like I was sort of a research paper of Dennis Miller and all the comics I like. And then I kind of went into my own thing. But at the beginning, you have to like people. And, you know, but I also like Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy. So, you know, you just never know. But Kevin is great. He was great to talk to as advertised. I was repeating a bunch of his jokes to him, which I always do. And I think you'll like it. Here he is, Kevin Nealon. I have a question for you, but I got to wait for Dana, they said. Okay, they're all dumb, though.
How's it been going?
Oh, this is going through the roof, buddy.
Awesome, man.
I think. I don't know.
Hey, I love your red... it's an audio podcast. Sorry. Well,
I've been losing more stuff on the road. You know, like I leave it on airplane pockets and stuff. I had like the little ones, but they're kind of gone now, along with my Apple Pencil, my iPad Pencil.
You know, I was on a flight this week, and in the seat back in front of me, it said, this whole... you know, placket about the safety briefing has been scrubbed down with antibacterial stuff. It's stamped on it. I go, I don't believe it. I was skeptical.
Yeah.
Because they never even touched it after that. And I was like, I touched it.
I don't believe the life preservers work either, you know, or the oxygen masks.
Well, I have such a terrible fear of flying. When they come around and we get to a comfortable cruising altitude, and they go, well, would you like a beverage? So inside I'm screaming for a beer because my pulse is like 160.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, I don't know. What do you got? I'll have grapefruit juice. No, I guess I'll have a Heineken.
Oh, you dance around it a little bit?
Well, my wife, she has no fear of flying. So she orders coffee and a Heineken. And then I order a Heineken. And then I have two. And then I put them on her tray. And I kind of shrug to the flight attendant like, I don't know. She's got an issue.
You beat the system.
One time I was joking around.
I'm on the ground. I don't drink. Yeah, go ahead.
One time I was joking around with a flight attendant. It was like a 7 a.m. flight. She goes, can I get you something to drink? I said, yeah, I'll have a scotch on the rocks. And it was like ordering orange juice. He goes, okay, want that on the rocks. Okay, would you like something, sir? You know, because a lot of people drink when they're flying.
because of fear in flying. This famous actress flew next to me once. Guess who?
Is it Sophia Loren?
No, it predates her. But anyway, this actress was really cool because they came around with these vodka lemon drinks on this flight. And she goes, I'll do it twice as opposed to give me 2 of them. And she kept saying, I'm going to sleep later, so I'll do it twice. So that's what I say to my wife. Ladies and gentlemen, the comedy never. Why is anyone?
Listen, Dana, my airplane bits, I think I did on my first Tonight Show. Airplane bits are a real staple of comedians, I feel. And I think we all have some. And I remember the one that I can't do anymore, because it's old, even though Seinfeld said you should still do old jokes. But I said, when you're in first class and then you're in coach and you're a loser in coach, so the lady will walk out of first class and look at you. Then she looks back and shuts the little curtain so you can't even see the people in first class. She's like, it's a good sound too. And then she snaps it shut, and then she comes back later with a tire gun and goes, bam, bam. I go, I'm not looking. I'm not.
I remember this one. I like the effects.
I know what that curtain close looks like from first class, but not from coach.
Oh, you look back and you go, can you get one more snap?
You know who was on my flight 2 weeks ago? Jon Hamm.
Oh.
Jon Hamm.
I didn't say anything to him because I didn't want to have to walk back to coach. You know what I mean?
So rude.
What? Can I do my impression of Jon Hamm?
Yeah.
I don't even know you.
What's that from? Bridesmaids?
I can't. I don't even know you. It's him on. It's someone asking him a favor on Mad Men. I don't even.
Oh,
know
I see it.
So I can't hear myself.
Dana, I've seen memes where, because I'm representing the younger generation here. I've seen memes where, because I'm tragically still on Instagram, but they show Jon Hamm in an elevator or something, and someone says something to him, and then they put a picture of Jon Hamm going, I don't even know you. So it must be a famous line from the show.
It also makes you do the impression. Kevin, what's your famous for you airplane bit? Do you have one?
Oh, yeah. It's I was flying the other day, and I think the pilot was a little inexperienced.
It's already fun.
I like this.
We were getting ready to take off. He goes, folks, we'll be taking off in a few minutes. Whoa, here we go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love that he's a little inexperienced. So I was kind of nervous.
And then we were up in the air for like 20 minutes, and he comes back on the PA, goes, folks, I can't seem to figure out where. Oh, never mind, I got it.
Oh, here's a good one. We land. I go, why are you allowed to land anywhere near the actual airport? We're taxiing around and going inside. I'm like, hey, I saw some lights over there. Oh, we're going this way. And then I go, all right. And then we got to the gate, and we're not even allowed to park at the gate. And then so we're just then we start following this pilot. He's walking to a plane because I see him holding his keys, but then he's just getting some out of his plane, so we can't park there. It's sort of. I think that was it. It was better. I guess
I was in an emergency landing once, and
I've had many of them.
I discovered that the overhead luggage compartments are not emergency exits.
You just called up there. I did one that we'll probably have to cut this out, but I was playing Spellbinders in Houston in the 80s. I didn't go on the road that much, but Bill Hicks, who's a famous comedian who passed away, was my opener. So he would dare me to do a hacky opening. So I don't know if it was my joke, and I couldn't do it today. It'll be canceled. But it was like I'd go up and I'd go, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I flew here on Mexicana Airlines. It was a great airline. The pilot had dice hanging in the cockpit. And he just thought that was the greatest thing ever. That guy would go on stage with a sport coat for like 20 minutes. He had a big sport coat on. He's doing all his jokes. And then he would reach in and pull out an ice cold Budweiser beer. He kept it in his jacket like a magician for 20 minutes for that one joke. Anyway.
One time he tried to drink a Dove. He pulled out by mistake.
Oh, I had that with the Great Scott at Comedy Magic Club. The birds, he'd get them and they come out of his jacket. You didn't know where they were coming from. And he went out and it was dead. It was like,
I thought they were made of paper.
That's your showstopper, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, no, but Kevin, you'll like this story, I think, because we're comedians, but I was telling somebody last night that one of my buddies was a waiter at the Dallas Improv. Remember the Dallas Improv? I loved the old one in Dallas off Central and Walnut, I think. And it was right next to Kroger's. And so a comedian came in and he was there in the day, but setting up. And the comedian, the headliner, is kind of jerky. I don't even know who it was for real. But he came in, he starts bossing everyone around, getting the keys to the condo and, asking him this and that and sort of being pushy. So the waiters realized they didn't like him. And then he came back in for the show and he goes to my buddy, hey, come here. And he goes, because this is some people that listen to this know comedy, you have to adapt to a city. So he goes, what's the big store around here? Is it Alpha Beta? He goes, no, it's Kroger's. That's the one around the corner. And he goes, yeah, okay. And you guys have a Circle K? He goes, no, we have 7-Eleven. He goes, yeah, okay. He's working his act out. And then he goes, and what's this big, huge street right in front of here with all the traffic? He goes, oh, that's Apollo Boulevard, which was a lie. And so the guy gets up and he starts killing. And then he goes, and that was crazy. I couldn't even get here because of Apollo Boulevard. He just comes to a complete screeching halt. And then he goes, Apollo over here. And someone goes, Central Expressway. He goes, no, Apollo. And he's arguing with him. And then he just keeps digging a deeper hole. And he comes to my friend later. He's like, you fucking dick. And he's like, he goes, oh yeah, you know what? I said it wrong. That is Central Expressway.
Mike Myers and I were playing Green Bay, Wisconsin, I think. So they said, oh, they love it if you say cheeseheads. So we went up there. I don't know if we're doing Wayne and Garth or whatever. Like, cheeseheads. I swear there was almost a riot. That is like a slur. That is cheesehead. We kept doing it. Mike's like, I don't know what's going on, man. Anyway, we should introduce our guest today, Kevin Nealon.
Kevin Nealon.
Saturday Night Live All-Star, Weeds. How many times he's been on The Tonight Show, Letterman. How many specials? Three stand-up specials? 4? Two, but working on a third.
2, but all good material.
Yeah.
I didn't space it out like a lot of comics.
Seinfeld says every comedian, even the good ones, have about an hour 20 of good material. Even if they do 10 specials, he goes.
You're quoting Seinfeld a lot.
I know that's the only second time. That's it. But
he's the Pope
because there's more to come.
Yeah, that's
every
quarter.
The rules of how you're supposed to do stand up. You can obey them or not, but he has definite rules of how.
What does Seinfeld say about Jesus?
He does.
Jesus, I don't do religion. Then half the people hate you.
I think this is a big compliment, Kevin. Some of the top comedians will talk and say Kevin is one of the tallest comedians. That has to mean something to you.
It's really a compliment, because. There's rumors out there that I'm not that tall. So when somebody validates that for me, it really, and it's weird too, because I have a fear of heights. So every day I live in fear,
Kevin, I was saying the other day that if you're ever around a vulture, don't play dead because that's what they want.
That's right.
That's right.
It's one of Nealon's old bits. Not even a bit. Really? It's more of a line. Yeah, that's yours.
I didn't know that was mine.
Oh, for real? It's funny.
Yeah.
Let's go back and say, before we get to SNL, when Kevin Nealon, I used to watch, and when I started and I was at the Improv, which was a big deal. I was doing hosting, which is a hard job. And I would host and have to bring every comic up from 8 to 1 a.m. And I'd end in the hallway and I go, what do you want me to say about you? And so I'd kind of know comics, acquaintances, because they'd say, oh, you're the MC, blah, blah, blah. But Nealon was on the chalkboard. Carvey wasn't there as much, but I was pretty influenced by a little peppering of Nealon, a little Carvey, a little Dennis Miller. And when you're starting out, you start to see all these great comics right in front of you. You don't have to wait a week or 3 to see them on Carson or something. So I got influenced, but you guys were all great. And then something happened. Remember, Nealon, when I got kicked out of John Mulrooney's place because his roommate, who actually passed away, God, that comic was great. And then you said, oh, why don't you rent my room while you got SNL? Remember that whole thing?
Yeah. You rented my room?
And Alciona.
On Alciona.
Yeah, so it was me, you, Bob Duback, Dana above the garage, and Joe,
my wife and
the writer.
Joe Kenny.
Joe Kenny.
Joe Kenny.
We lived above the garage. It was like a little mini compound, not fancy at all. I got hassled by the postal service there. That's a whole nother story. But my wife and I were saving her salary, which was $29,000 a year, working for a state assemblyman, so we could save up and buy a house. So it was $300 a month, and it was just a room with a sink. We had a hot plate. I come up back after a gig and just watch TV with headphones on, and she would sleep. And Kevin was rented it to us, or Kevin invited us to live there.
But Bob was like the ringleader of the place. I was just a renter. I had that little bedroom on the end there. But I went back there about a year ago with my wife and son to just see what it looked like. And the owners were there, and they had filled in the driveway with a yard and a swing set.
What?
And a little wall that goes across the front. You could park a little bit in there, but it doesn't have that big parking lot.
Yeah, there's a big.
I told him we used to live there, and in fact, the guy's wife Dana did your costume for the commercial you guys did, or wardrobe for the
Wayne and Garth
for the Wayne and Garth for the Super Bowl commercial.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. So she knew you. But they gave me a tour of the place. I went inside, and they had changed it around a little bit. I saw where your apartment was, which is their office now. And there's like a downstairs. Nobody lives downstairs. They have a staircase in a living room that goes down to the lower apartment.
Wait, was there? It was all one story, right? Like your bedroom was close to Alciona.
There was a couple that lived downstairs with their baby.
Downstairs? I don't even remember that. I don't think I was allowed. Noises. No, I wasn't allowed but Nealon was very nice because when he come back I had just done like Police Academy. I was pretty new. And when you guys would come home, that was really exciting because you had war stories and you would say hi to me. And Nealon, you would stay on the couch. You wouldn't even kick me out of the room because you thought that was unfair.
Why don't I remember any of this stuff?
I know, because I was forgettable, and I've been told that by my parents, especially my dad.
But I do remember that when you got on SNL, I lost my subletter, so you really kind of screwed me over there.
Oh yeah, that is true. And so I had to
tell
keep
the story.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, but we're all three interacted in this mid '80s thing, and we all eventually ended up on SNL. But when I met David, I never had been on SNL. When I met Kevin, he'd never been on SNL. I got on SNL by a long story for another time. But then, freakily, they had one last slot they were trying to cast in New York. And this is true. It sounds funny at the time, but they mentioned Chevy or somehow, I don't know if they were serious, but he was somebody tall or something. So I thought, well, I know someone tall. And then through whatever machinations, Bruce and Gray or whatever, Kevin came out to the studio. And I think, so now Kevin's auditioning, but the show had been cast. But I think we were in 8H, and didn't you just sort of stand near us, near like 8 or 10 people and do stand-up? Or
yeah, it wasn't a typical audition, I don't think.
Yeah.
I went there, and I immediately got tired when I walked into that studio because I used to fall asleep watching that show, and it was an association thing.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
So Dana and I used to do characters at our house on Alciona Drive in the Hollywood Hills. We would stand out in the driveway and just kind of riff on different, like a couple of different characters. And I didn't do any characters or accents or impressions. I was just a stand-up, a really good stand-up.
Yes,
it's true. I'll show you. You'll see.
Oh no, I want to make I'd like to make an observation. The thing about your style of stand-up, which really lent itself to this high-pressure situation, was you never know when you've started. Like you're suddenly kind of talking, and there's no presentation or like, now here's my joke. You just like doing that sly kind of. You always gotta keep pace with life, whatever. And then so you essentially killed. But go ahead.
So so I go to Studio at H, and typically they have you on the center stage, I guess, and you have to do like 3 characters and 3 accents or something. I don't know what it is, but there wasn't that demand when I went there, and I just I did the characters we worked on, I think it was a couple of Sammys, and it was like the 2 guys, the 2 porn stars talking about very casual stuff.
Were some of them a little undercooked?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, they never got fully baked. They were very undercooked.
They're just like, here's a wispy idea that I'm fucking just throwing shit out to hope something, you
That's
go.
what I was doing.
Yeah,
That's what I was doing. And I
they
did
look
some
for a
stand-up.
nugget of a thought. I think Downing, those guys, and Lauren, they go, I like that weird idea, even if it's undercooked and it's not quite fully formed and written out well. We got great writers here. You give us that idea, we throw it on the table. I bet we could come up with something. So that's what I learned they like. But go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
My memory tells me that I was standing at the end of the bleachers or something, and I was on the floor, and everybody like Dennis Miller, you, John Lovitz, Nora Dunn, Lauren,
Phil,
Marcy, Phil. Oh, I don't know if Phil was there, but anyway, you guys were all on the bleachers watching me, and I did my thing. You know, it was very short, and then I left.
You know what's funny? Oh yeah, his act is so dry that it's almost. I think I took a page out of that, because if it doesn't work, you're almost like it wasn't supposed to work. I'm just talking. I was just talking, and now I'm leaving.
I'm out there screaming, desperate, trying to get laughs. And if I swing and a miss, it's over. But Kevin, I want to know the timeline from when you first heard in California, hey, they might be interested in SNL. Can you fly to New York? You do your thing. Is that like a week later, and then do you find out the next day, or how soon after?
It was
you
very
did that?
quick. It was very quick. I remember that. It was like a weekend. Like on Friday, I think they told me I have it. I'm coming to New York. I didn't have the chance really to tell my friends that I was on SNL. You know, I just packed up. I got Spade to rent my room, and I went to New York.
Did you stay at the Omni Berkshire?
I think so, or the Essex House. I don't even remember, I didn't even know New York that well. And Al Franken said, you got to find a good neighborhood to live in. And I think, isn't New York a neighborhood? I didn't know there were separate neighborhoods. You know, you got to find a place that's close to a subway and something with the grocery stores, you know, like the Upper West Side or whatever.
Yeah.
So Dana and I actually, after a couple of years in, we lived in the same apartment building on Broadway.
At the Bromley?
Yeah.
Bromley is very, very nice.
I think Mikey Myers stayed at the Bromley, and then Farley moved into the Bromley.
Huh. Well, there was a movie theater right underneath it, which was kind of cool. And it was close to the park, and it wasn't too expensive.
Across from Zabar's and H&H Bagels, not far away.
Yeah. And
everyone lived Upper West that I knew. Andy and Katie, my relatives, lived up there. And then slowly, I'm not jumping ahead, but slowly people trickled to the village, and I didn't, because I only knew my little haunts. And by the time it was over, I didn't know anybody up there, because you guys.
Yeah, I moved to the West Village, and it was a beautiful federal style home, I think they call it. You know, like a brownstone. And we had the top 2 floors. Dana, did you ever come over there?
I don't think so. It
had 4 fireplaces, high ceilings, and it was just really cool. And it was right next to the meat market district, which is now like the hip place. But back then it was really the meat market. And at night when I come home from SNL, I'd see these like rave clubs where there'd be these transgenders out front, you know, waiting to go in, you know, like 3 a.m. And, but now it's like totally gentrified, and it's beautiful.
So so then maybe a week or 2 later, you're premiering on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah. Well, are you at the beginning of a season, or are you at the?
I'm at the beginning of 86.
The first show. Yeah. October.
The first
host.
It was Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, good.
Yes. Sigourney Weaver.
I remember
was the
at
host.
the end of that week when she was saying the good nights, I was so jealous because she got to go. She got to leave, and I had to kind of like, she was like a prisoner getting released. And I had to stay.
just because of how did you handle the nerves? Because
it was so intense.
Yeah, it's just crazy, right?
Well, you know what I pretended? Because the year before that, the ratings were so low and they almost pulled the plug. In fact, we all lived out of our suitcases every day. We didn't know if the show was going to get canceled. So that's what I kept in mind. I thought, nobody's watching this show. Otherwise, my nerves would have killed me. And I thought, you know, I'm used to playing in front of 300 people, which is about how many are in that studio. And then I remember I was still nervous, though, and we're away from a commercial. And my first sketch was Mr. Subliminal, which is kind of like 2 conversations at once, you know?
Oh, wow. That was on the first show you got to do that?
Yeah. So 10 seconds before the sketch is supposed to start, you know, we're away at a commercial, and we're coming back from the commercial. Lauren comes up to me, and he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he says to me, are you sure this is what you want?
What?
That's his way to relax you, I suppose.
Yeah.
But he would say those funny things. So give us 10 seconds of Mr. Subliminal so people know what we're talking about.
Well, Mrs. Subliminal is the guy who kind of inserts these words into a sentence to get what he wants. Like if I go to a deli or something, I say, I think I'll have the corned beef sandwich, your treat. Now, maybe, why don't you throw in a Diet Coke too, whiskey, and that'll be good for me.
So he manipulates his way through life with subliminal messages. Yeah. And his name is Mrs. Subliminal. Yeah, I love it.
First show, you got a good one on.
Yeah, I got a good one, and I started getting recognized right away.
That's the funnest part. I mean, it takes a while to get famous, and then you just stay famous. But it takes longer. Back then, SNL, there was probably SNL and maybe HBO. There wasn't a ton of choices. I mean, there was 3 networks or 4 networks maybe.
And cable was very new.
Cable's new, yeah.
So it wasn't so overriding, and you would get recognized. There was a water cooler effect to it, and Kevin and I, we had a small cast, so everyone got involved pretty quickly. You're on 2 or 3 things a show.
Was Jan that year? You met Jan on the show? I love Jan Hooks. She was
Jan
so
Hooks
fucking
and
funny.
Phil Hartman and Kevin and I came in, and then Lovitz and Dennis, Nora Dunn, and Whitney Brown were there.
Wait,
I think
so
that was
Dana,
it.
you hadn't
And then
started
Victoria
yet?
Jackson.
So you were
Kevin and I. My first show was
Lauren.
Kevin's first show. I was living with Lauren in Long Island, but then I got a place in Manhattan, and my first show was Kevin's first show. But I've been there since August, hanging out.
I was about to say, you actually had some influence. You haven't even started yet.
I was with Lauren for a month. I didn't know he used to come out, and initially it was just me. I was the only one out there, and then Chevy
How
Chase.
Scary that you would go stay with Lauren and see McCartney and these guys.
McCartney, hanging out every night with McCartney. We all got to know
Paul McCartney.
Well, Lauren does one of it. He knows there's Paul Simon and Paul McCartney. So he said, Paul's coming over tonight. And you have to ask Paul who. That would be McCartney. And I'd never even been on
Paula
television.
Dean. Yeah.
One time we were all having lunch.
Stone.
We were all having lunch. I think it was Central Cafe in New York. It was me, Steve Martin, Lauren, and maybe Billy Joel was there too. And Steve was talking about Cher. Lauren was talking about Cher, and Steve piped in. He goes, Cher who?
Steve for having those big jokes like in his old albums, which I used to memorize, and those crazy things. He would also say the driest shit like that too. It's so funny.
Oh,
yeah. But that was Lauren. Everybody does impressions of Lauren too, every cast member would do
so great
through the generations. But the other thing about us being on, it was a small cast, and then it started getting bigger and bigger. Like our introductions only lasted maybe 2 minutes. And now if you watch it, there's like 50 people on the show. Even
one sketch
featuring so-and-so, and then somebody who might be on, he's standing by, we'll see, so-and-so.
And a contest winner.
Yeah.
I think Kevin and I were on the last small cast show, and then it grew with Mike Myers and then David and Adam and everybody else. But initially, I think it was just like 6 of it. I was kind of like 3 or 4.
Well, what happened was we kind of ran out of tricks, and Lauren kind of saw the writing on the wall. He goes, we got to get some more energy in here, some more people with some ideas.
It was like COVID that was expanding, and we were like the Delta coming in. It was just getting bigger and bigger.
I came in hard and fast with the lady, but I had the benefit of having Phil and the lady and Phil and Jan were on it, and the host would be on it. Sean Penn beat me up and stuff. But the only time it was very conscious with Kevin and I doing a tour with Dennis was our eventual Hans and Franz characters.
It was great. You did the Swatch tour.
That's right.
Yes.
It was the Swatch tour.
I was so jealous. I heard you guys were making $6,000 a night. I was shitting. I was like, no fucking way.
It was $5,000 a night. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, I feel better. But
yeah. So
I went and saw it in Arizona, and it was like so huge for comedians. They were like 3 great comedians are coming to town. It was unreal. And you don't have to do that long. I probably do a half each or something.
I remember we were in Denver. It was our last, I think, stop on the tour. And John Travolta came with some mutual friends of mine.
Yeah.
And he offered us all a ride back to LA. He was piloting his jet.
Whoa.
And I jumped on it. I said, yeah, I'll go. But you and Dennis, Dana, were fearful flyers. So you said no.
I was a huge Welcome Back Kotter fan, but I couldn't imagine that guy steering. But I've been tapped out. I've been tapped out a few times in my life. Impressionists get tapped out. So I was doing Travolta that night, a really silly, stupid bit, whatever, all these guys like this and that. And the crowd starting to roar. Obviously, he's sneaking up behind me. And I'm really, because, I can't.
Oh, my God.
And then he taps me on the shoulder. And then he says, I think it's the sincerest form of flattery.
Oh, how
But
great.
I tell people, because they always ask, who was the best this, and this? I would say Travolta was the most accessible, real superstar I've ever met. Like instantly liking him, and he was just very affable. Didn't you find, Kevin? I mean, it's just this no sense he was a superstar at all. Nothing. He's
he just loves being in the business and acting. And when he was hosting that week, he really befriended Jan and gave her a nice long leather brown jacket for her birthday. And one night we all went over to Jan's apartment. It was me and Johnny and our mutual friends, Linda and Anson.
Johnny.
And we get to Jan's apartment,
Travolta.
and we were each doing our impression of his character from Grease, like that one scene where he leans against the wall, and he leans against the wall and turns around with a cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hilarious.
we were all doing that impression, and then John went last, and he nailed it. I mean, he won the
How
competition.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
He was the best at doing it. That's amazing.
Yeah, crazy. He must have been practicing, but that's what he's like. He'll do that stuff.
I was only on the show a little bit when I met him, and about 3 years later, I was at Sushi 101 on Beverly, and I was eating, and he came in with a hat and he's ordering to-go stuff. And I'm like, this motherfucker looked like Jon Hamm. And then he turns around and looks, and then he keeps ordering, gets his bag, and turns on and he goes, hey, it's John. What's up? Remember me? I was on SNL with you. I go, I remember you. Yeah. I saw Grease 45 times.
Yeah.
And then Saturday Night Fever. And right around the same time, bam, bam.
Urban Cowboy.
Monster. Urban Cowboy.
That same week he was hosting, we all went to the Palms restaurant on the Lower East Side, and we're walking.
Jeez, give him some breathing room. Go ahead.
You're stalking.
That was his idea. It was his idea. We were walking up 3rd Avenue, and this is like in 1994 or 95, way after Welcome Back, Kotter. Mm-hmm. And there's this homeless guy sitting on the sidewalk, and he's looking down. And as we're approaching, he goes, hey, you guys got any spare? And he looks up and he sees Travolta. He goes, Anthony Paparino. That was the last time that guy probably watched TV.
Dude, how funny was that fucking Tarantino's Welcome Back, Kotter? How funny was that sketch? That was a great one.
Well, Kevin, you remember that John Travolta came to Saturday Night Live just to be a fly on the wall, to hang out and learn the show. And that's when I met him. And then he hosted later, but I think I'd left by then. So I missed that part. But yeah, he just was hanging out.
I missed the one where, the Tarantino one?
Yeah.
Where it was, oh my God, I got to be Horseshack. Mr. Kotter.
You know who I missed by a couple of seconds was when George Harrison came and stopped by the writers' room.
Oh, no. Wow.
Yeah, he came in.
Is that when he played the piano?
Yeah, he was playing the piano. It was next to Al Franken's office. And Al Franken didn't know it was George Harrison. And he was yelling from his office, keep it quiet. I'm trying to write.
That's all. Poor Al. I'm just trying to write a song, for Paul.
Shut up. Then he flipped and the writers remember he flipped the table. He's mad and he smashed his toe. Oh, he might have been gone.
He was arrested. Al is like stocky, and he was a wrestler.
Not George Harrison.
One night, him and Farley. Sorry, I was spaced out. Him and Farley went at it like hardcore, fighting each other.
To wrestle, yeah.
But for playful fun. But it was intense. Those two guys.
Yeah, Frankie was always
super competitive.
Frankie was always kind of exploring. He wanted to be a part of your history. Like I was a football player, so he wanted to play football. We played basketball. He wanted to wrestle with Farley. That was the thing about Farley too. Farley was really, even as heavy as he was so light on his feet, and he was a good basketball player, really coordinated. You saw him skating in the rink,
Well, that's what made
shockingly
him so funny.
Light on his feet. Yeah. That Nancy Kerrigan sketch, I don't know if you guys remember that one, was the whole show wasn't that great, but he was doing the ice skating one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very good. Wisconsin
Well,
skater.
look at him on the down by the river thing. Just anyway.
Hey, Dana, who was your biggest idol on that show that you got to meet? I'll tell you who it was.
Okay.
It was Neil Young.
I had to be Neil Young, but Paul McCartney I met before the show, so it doesn't really count in real life.
Right.
But meeting Neil Young was quite a thrill. And one night, I don't know if you were there, Kevin, we went out to dinner like with 6 or 8 people with Neil, and I was with Phil, and I said, Phil, let's make Neil Young helpless with laughter. Let's see if we can really get him. So we're doing every shtick we can, every accent, just going crazy just to get him helpless, and we did, just to pay him back. Fun story, right, kids?
That is good. That is good. I like that.
You meet people, when you're on Saturday Night Live, you just meet famous people doing sketch comedy. So they're especially vulnerable, and they're looking to you for advice after the first couple seasons. It's interesting, isn't it? Do you ever helping people out?
I find that anybody who's ever hosted, no matter how long ago it was, they're still your best buddy because they latch onto you because they're so scared on that show. They latch onto you and they're friends forever.
Yes. Yeah, you skip a few levels of casual friendship and you get in there because you're in the trenches so fast and you're explaining cue cards or you're saying this or you're telling them when to get, if you start crying on Friday night, that's normal. Don't freak out. Because it's so overwhelming to go, we haven't even rehearsed half this shit and it's tomorrow. And I don't even know what's going on. And they start, my clothes are made of Velcro.
Yeah.
Remember Robert Mitchum?
Robert Mitchum.
Robert Mitchum came in, the famous movie star. Yeah. And he had a gigantic thing of Jack Daniels in his room, but he was incredible on the show. Just you meet so many eclectic people.
I remember he stopped one of the sketches right in the middle during the table read, and he was explaining what hoodlums, where that word came from, and it broke the whole pacing of the sketch.
Oh yeah.
Hey Nealon, were you a bartender? Were you a bartender in the Improv?
I worked as a bartender for 2 years at the Improv. I was 25, 26.
At the Improv on Melrose?
Yeah. And then Eddie, who's the bartender now, took over for me. And that was really? 30, I don't know, 30 years ago. He's still bartending. People love him. I
told Eddie, I said, you're like a friend to me. So you know what? I'm just going to order all my drinks and then I'll tip you at the end. But I meant the end when he quits.
When he dies.
Yeah. So I said at the very end.
He can't quit now.
I saw online, Nealon was a bartender and they said, here's a trivia question. What was Kevin's joke about bartending? And so I tried to guess. And they wrote a joke kind of to sound like you and used the real answer, which is probably a lie, was I just try to put as much alcohol in as possible. And the other answers were, I just try to get the color right of the drink. And the other one was kind of funny. He said, I just tell them to tip me up front. That sounds like a joke. I guess that one. That sounds like a joke you'd say.
Which one was it, Kevin?
Well, the truth is, it wasn't even a joke. It's just I never bartended before, so I didn't know how to make drinks. I had the boss bartender guide below the bar. If somebody ordered like a 707, I'd flip through the pages and find out how to make it. But I had that college mentality where I thought the more alcohol in the drink, the better they'll like it. So often people would come back with their drink and say, could you put a little more club soda in here? I said, really, this is too strong. I said, okay, all right, I'm just trying to help you out.
Kevin, I have another thing. Is this your joke? I always know your jokes. But when you say...
You remember my jokes from the 80s. When you used to go to
your
clubs.
jokes. And I swear, I've seen a million comics. I don't know why yours I remember. But they're all funny. But when you say you had a lobster, you were cooking a lobster, and you went to cook it, and you said, tell me if I get this right. You go, I went to put it in the pot, but then I looked at it, a little face. I go, you know what? this is an animal and it does not deserve to die. So you know what I did? I got my car, I took it out to the woods, I let it go. Because you got to do the right thing sometimes.
Because you got to
Is
do
that
the
your
right
joke?
That's Kevin.
That's a good paraphrase of it. Yeah. I always thought it'd be funny to have a show where the comic's girlfriend or wife does their act. And they don't get it quite right, but they kind of paraphrase it, you know?
All my friends go, I could do your act. I go, it's so intricate and complicated. I dare you. And then they do it exactly. I go, oh.
Well, the trajectory, the evolution of the wife/girlfriend is initially she's kind of pretty much in the front row watching your act. Then she's midway back. Then she's standing in the back. Then she's in the green. Then she's in the green room during your act. And then she'll meet you after. And finally, she just at home. Where you been?
She stays home. Yeah. Going, how was it?
Did you guys like going to the after parties on Saturday Night Live?
God, you're so wired. I was never really in it enough to be wired, but I would get energy from doing the good nights and waving good night. So, and then they'd hand. Do you remember this? Marcy was always scared because too many people would figure out the party. So you'd get
Marcy
a little
Klein
ticket.
was Lauren's assistant.
Yeah. You get a ticket. She'd walk by and hand you a ticket like right before air or something. Like that's what you were thinking about, but I was. And then they go, hey, the party's going to be here. It's going to be here. It's me. And so you'd have this, and then after the show, you'd get a limo. That guy Max would be out there and go, Spade, you want to go with Farley? You want to go with Timmy Meadows? And they'd try to double us up because we weren't the big stars, but you guys would get your own limo, and they'd get you to the party, and then they would get you home. And then the party was always so late. I think it's a big status thing now, but man, to wait, if you're not on the show, to sit there and wait till 1 to go to the party, which is more like 1:30, that's a late night.
I would opt not to go to the after party because I was so exhausted from the show, and I wanted to be able to get up in the morning on Sunday and enjoy my one day off. But I always had guests coming in that they wanted to go to the after party.
Oh, they have to. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
It's not even really a party. It's just everybody's at the same restaurant. You get your own table. You get your own bill.
Food, yeah.
You know, the
you get a bill.
For it. Yeah, you pay for all your guests and your friends. And and then, you know, everyone's at their own table and there's just a lot of gawkers.
And you'd walk around and the host would like to say hello to you. But Kevin, I don't know if I'm right about this, but the show was so in the doldrums when we got on. Cars were not provided to go to the party. So you, me, and Dennis would be out. It'd be like snowing, and we'd be trying to get a cab to go to the party. I don't know when cars came in, but we did not have cars, at least in those first few shows.
I love it.
We only had an 8-show pickup. Dynamite told us we had 8 shows. So if we don't hit the ground running, we're out here by Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, we were living out of our cars. And we even shared an office together, you and me.
Kevin and I shared an office that was very humble, very small, and we would sit in there for hours trying to riff, especially when Hans and Franz came. We would go, and really, we got so silly. I mean, you're so tired and stressed out. Sometimes I'd put on music on a boombox, and you, me, Victoria, and Dennis would just dance around in there, right? Just because of the stress.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I remember like Sandler and Farley and you too, Spade. Didn't you guys have an office on the other side by the writer's room next to Chris Rock's?
We had Herb Sargent's old update office. So it was like that corner.
Yeah, it was like a frat house in there. I'd go in there. There'd be like Playboy magazines everywhere, pizza boxes on the floor. And then you go into Rock's office and it was like pristine. He had like Malcolm X posters, Martin Luther King, all kinds of African-American culture books on this, and just spotless.
We're just all idiots because Farley would wipe his butt with the USA Today. You know, one time I was going to the rap party and they said, and they go, hey, and then I see Norm on Monday. I think you guys overlap with Norm. And I go, Norm, I didn't see you at the party. He goes, no. I go, well, I saw you getting a limo. I went to Atlantic City. Why? To gamble. Like I'm the asshole. To gamble. I go, oh, well, sorry. I don't know. I thought those are for the party. The poor limo driver's going, keep going straight. Sir, we're about 30 minutes away from the party. I think it's at Ollie's.
Every week he'd surprise the limo driver. Atlantic City.
I
know. And the guy goes, oh, fuck, I get Norm. I'm going to be back tomorrow.
Lovitz was telling me a story where, or somebody was telling me about how Lovitz loaned Norm a couple $100, like $200 to gamble. Mm-hmm. And the next day, Norm didn't pay him back. And they were touring somewhere together. And then the next day he asked him again. He goes, Norm, you got the $200? And he kept asking him. And then after a week, after he asked him, Norm goes, you only lost $200. I lost $5,000. What are you complaining about?
It was $8,000. Why are you riding me for? I lost like $8,000.
You only lost $200.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
But you know, I was there for 9 years, so I worked with a lot of different people. You know, I saw, you know, Spade came in, and then Mike Myers, Farley, Tim Meadows, everybody. I mean, it was, and then we got a lot of those wild cards, you know, like Michael McKean and Chris Elliott, you know, and Janine Garofalo and Sarah Silverman,
McKinney.
Matt Stiller, Mark McKinney. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Ben Stiller, who lived in the Bromley as well during that time.
He did?
Yeah.
Fucking Bromley.
And he got let go from the show, and I was doing very well in the show, and I'd run into him in the elevator. I go, how are you okay? You know, and he was, you know, went on. The guys who get fired or don't get hired for the show seem to do extremely well. Jim Carrey, Ben Stiller.
Jim Carrey was on the show?
No, but he didn't get hired.
He auditioned.
Oh, right.
He auditioned with us, you know.
We should have Jim on just to talk about how he didn't get it.
That audition, yeah, he destroyed. I mean, I
think most people got fired from that show.
Yeah. I didn't know Farley and Sandler got fired.
Yeah, I mean, the year I left, Sandler and was it Farley both got fired?
Yeah, I didn't even know that for fucking 20 years because they're both doing so well. I didn't know that there was any friction. I don't think there was. I think
the idea is that they wanted to come back and were told no.
That's so weird. It's so weird. They're both huge stars.
And I was kind of forced out of there too. You know, there wasn't much future for me in there.
Were you bum rushed out?
I knew that was my last year that they'd have me. But luckily I got a sitcom with DreamWorks with Spielberg. So I had something to go to after that.
It was called...
What was
something
it called?
Hiller and Diller.
It was called Pushed Out the Door was the working title.
Kevin, you've done a lot of Sandler movies. Which one do people know you from the most, do you think?
Mostly Happy Gilmore. And Grandma's Boy, even though he wasn't in that one.
What was the one where you had, was it Just Go With It? You had plastic surgery. You looked hilarious. Yeah. That was pretty fun. Was that a lot of makeup?
It was 4 hours in the makeup chair, and they only used one day. I did like three or 4 days of sitting in that chair, but they only used one day of my shooting. But the most fun I had was doing Blended, where we shot in South Africa.
Oh yeah, I saw that
for 2 months. So we went on safaris and everything. It was cool. Yeah, I've done like 13 Sandler films.
Seriously, 13. So you've done 10% of his films. Every time I'm in a Sandler movie, it's a terrible, terrible bomb. I was in Little Nicky. And then I was in Jack and Jill. Those are the only. So I should never be in another Sandler film. Both very funny. Adam doing his thing, but
I'm from the South, the deep South. Kevin, I have a question for you. Oh, first of all, back to I got 2, but Bathroom Attendant. I was there for. I thought that was one of that sketch was fucking killed if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was with Harvey Keitel. It's one of my favorite sketches I wrote on that show. And, you know, there's a thing I have about bathroom attendants. It just seems so unnecessary, you know, to have a bathroom attendant to dry your hands and to, you know, give you, and then have candy on the counter. Because, you know, once you go to the bathroom, you immediately want to refill your supply, you know.
I always give him $10 and go, if anyone asks, I wash my hands. And he's like.
So you know, I've always kind of had that little, thing about bathroom attendants. So I finally wrote up this sketch about a bathroom attendant in a very small bathroom with just one toilet.
That was the tiniest set that. Too. That was funny. Yeah. And Keitel was great. That was good. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And he was into it. He fucking loved it.
Yeah, he did. And then Farley comes in at the end, like he's my regular customer.
Oh, what a great way to get out. Yeah.
You know who helped me with that was Mike Shoemaker, who was one of the associate producers at the time. Or at the time, I think it was maybe just, I don't know, a PA or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, he kind of had a lot of good little ideas for it.
Yeah, he still works at Seth. He has a big job over there. And it says you went to Sacred Heart. These are my 2 last things. You went to Sacred Heart, and I don't really care about that, but you at Sacred Heart as comedians, because we're all like in the comedy biz. That was one where I was doing gigs, you know, on weekends at SNL. I went from getting $3,000 a night. I think I maybe got up to $5,000 a night. But they go, take a car. I think that's drivable, right, Kevin? Is that far drivable?
Yeah, it's like an hour and 15 from New York.
So they go do 45 to an hour, right? Which was kind of a tough swing because I was not really even a headliner when I got hired. I was pretty solid middle, but sometimes they make a middle do 35. I go, get fucked. I would do 25 maybe. But anyway, so I do, I go to headline. I've got about 50, 55, and I'm like, shit, this is going to be tough, but I gots to do it because I'm getting the dinero. So I go all the way there. Yeah, so I go to Sacred Heart. I remember this name. And they're all sitting around like a fireplace or something. And schools are great. They have extra money. They hire you to come in. But I haven't really caught fire or anything. I'm just like a comedian. They don't really know me. So I'm just like, I go and they're all like sitting cross-legged on the floor. I think I remember this right. Maybe 200 kids. So you guys all been here. So I'm doing my fucking act. It's bombing ferociously. And I'm buzzing through it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not doing well. And I know they don't want me there. But I'm like, blah, blah. And this is my big lesson in comedy. So I do it and I buzz through everything. But I did 43. And all I had to do was go like, hey, where's this guy from? Not even a closer, just some conversation and then get off. But I leave and the guy goes, up. He wouldn't pay me. He goes, you did 43. You're supposed to do 45. And I go, and he had me. That's a contract thing because you can't say you bombed because that's subjective, but you can say you didn't fulfill your contract. So I left without a check. And then Gervitz called him and yelled at him and they finally paid me.
The funny part
That's the thing, man.
Go ahead.
When you go somewhere, if you're traveling far, you want to come home with a check. One time I worked with Bill Maher and Tommy Davidson up in Rochester or Buffalo, New York. We had to fly from New York in I did on a little prop plane. Yeah. I got there and I got really sick before the show. I had some kind of a stomach bug. And I only felt good if I laid on a cot backstage. And Bill Maher did his set, Tommy Davidson did his set, and I didn't want to go home without getting paid. Mm-hmm. So I asked the stage manager if he would put the cot out on the stage and I could lay on the cot and do my act from the cot on my side. And that's what I did. I did it. And I told the people I was depressed. I said, I'm just so depressed. I got to lay down. I did my act, and they were dying. They were loving it. And occasionally I tried to get up and do my act, and I felt bad again, like I was going to throw up. So I had to I said, I'm depressed again. I got to lay down. So well that I started taking that cot with me to gigs.
How was your new one?
It never worked as well as that when it was real.
I once had one where I was chewing gum for some silly reason. Never chew gum before you do stand-up. And now, please welcome Packed House. And then I bit my tongue. And it was bleeding the whole set. I was just swallowing blood and trying to smile. My teeth were kind of smeared with blood.
Sickening. Kip Adada pooped his pants. You ever hear that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was famous. A lot of comedians shit their pants.
Poor Kip Adada. That's all we remember his whole act.
Did you ever have a thing where you hadn't done stand-up in a while, but you're on Saturday Night Live, and then they're paying you a lot of money, and you do what you think is your whole hour, but it's like 32 minutes?
Yeah, of course.
Because you're just so out of shape. You go so fast, and you're just like, oh, my God, that's why I always had the guitar, so I could just goof around on that.
And you forget chunks. I remember doing my act after I haven't done it for a while, and I'm like, that used to kill, and someone goes, you didn't even do the middle of it. And I go, huh? Because you forget. You're like, how does this track? And that's why it's almost like a play where you have to, every line is important if it's well written. Every line makes sense and it's economized to where you have to do it a certain way. You can kind of riff off that, but you have to get the basics down. And if you don't lay the groundwork, one joke was so stupid. I think I was saying there was no traffic today, but everything was based on there was traffic. And so I just said one word wrong and then nothing worked. And then later, someone goes, you said the opposite. I go, I did? And then it makes sense. You go, oh, it's, you can't figure it out.
Who's critiquing you always afterward? They're just someone
There's always someone there, the court stenographer going, well, tonight, I know you thought you did well.
A lot of that has to do with nerves, too. Like when you're starting out, you kind of do that. You forget stuff. That's why I love doing the warm-ups on SNL, because it took some of the stress away from me and anxiety, because I was already like, I met the audience and they've seen me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not coming out kind of like, all brand new and,
Oh, I had to do that sometimes.
me.
I think, I don't know if I was assigned it from you, but after you, but it was hard because Marcy's like, get out there. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm getting ready for a sketch. So I got to go up and do like 5 or 10 minutes because we were new. So she would always like rough us up. Get out there. Lauren's mad at you, and then walk away. I go, what?
Lauren's always mad.
I know, Lauren. It's the easiest thing. What about when Lauren would walk around the set with his Amstel Light and a glass, and he'd just walk around in between, like during a commercial, and you're like, get out of here, like, because it's too nerve wracking already. And
I know,
like,
and he'd say stuff.
Maybe kill.
We were doing something with Danny DeVito. I can't remember. I think Kevin was in it. And Lauren, during the commercial break, goes, this has to breathe. It was just kind of those sort of notes.
Whatever that means.
And he always would say, this is just Lauren's sense of humor. You'd walk down the hallway and he'd say, still with the show was another one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I thought it was funny.
I would try to huddle up with him by the monitor. Hey, Lauren, what's up? Sometimes they go, Lauren wants to talk to you right after Gap Girls. And I'd be summoned to the monitor, during the commercial, and it's really loud. They're playing the band. He's like, I think the ending, you could do this. He's like, that's how it works. They give notes and they do it right there while it's fresh in his brain. And then you have to go wait to see if it even gets picked for air. That was dress rehearsal, I should clarify. And then you've got your notes going, I know what to do if it stays in the show.
Yeah.
You change, you tighten it and you go, hey, I made it shorter, like selling it, like,
yeah,
it won't take up much room, so you can still put it on, and then...
you guys ever visit? You ever go up there and visit?
I've just been there. If I did Fallon, then usually I'd see Lauren, and then maybe do something on the show. But yeah, I
used to go up there. I used to go up there to visit, say hi to Lauren if I was playing at Caroline's or something.
Yeah.
But the last few times I went, it was really difficult because Lauren was so busy because there was other people that were visiting him, like Paul Rudd and Tom Hanks, and they're all around the monitor. And it's like you don't even exist, Yeah.
A lot of people go around that monitor. I went in and did a church lady on Update. This was pre-pandemic. And then I walked around the monitor and I saw 2 people going, wow, that was awesome, clapping. And I just kept walking and they go, hey, that was Jay-Z and Beyonce. Oh, okay.
Well, Will Forte summed it up. He goes, you never feel less needed when you go back to SNL now. It's like you're almost invisible,
You're of no use anymore. I remember when I finished my high school track career and the coach was so indifferent toward me. I did my last race and I kind of wanted to talk about the experience. I go, see you later. Yeah. You're just sort of done. And,
yeah, you've been squeezed dry.
I've had other cast members email me who've left, like Fred Armisen, basically saying, well, how do I deal with this? The emotional hangover of it, and then watching and seeing people doing your job. And in some cases doing it a lot better.
Without a beat,
you never totally get over doing that show. Nobody does. On some level, you'll either have a dream about it or think about it. It's too intense. Don't you guys think? I mean, it's always somewhere.
When I left that show, I couldn't imagine something superseding that as far as being notable. I always wondered, I wonder if I'll ever do anything that's kind of as notable as that show was.
And live and weird. And
doing a movie and then it waits a year to come out. It takes 6 months to get it together. Then you shoot it and everyone's like, where have you been? One guy,
for me, Weeds came along, and that was something that people really liked, and it was a different kind of a feeling than SNL, but it was fulfilling for me.
Yeah,
and it was a very acclaimed show.
This Uber driver goes, "Hey, it's like about a year or two ago." He goes, this is how bad showbiz is. He goes, "Hey, what about that guy Chris Pratt? You never see him anymore. What happened to him?" I go, "Chris Pratt? I think he was in Jurassic World and that other one with the fucking raccoon. Those are 2 of the biggest movies in history." He's like, "Yeah, but what else? He hasn't been anything lately." I go, "It was this year." I go, "What the fuck have I done?" Jesus, he's like, "Yeah, we haven't done shit." But people, if they didn't see your movie you did once, you did one movie, like I did Wrong Missy. then if they miss that, then it's such a chunk of movies they haven't seen. Like it's such a gap because it takes a year to get it together. Then you shoot it. Then it waits to come out. Then you try to get another one. So everyone's always like, "What? You got any movies coming out?" It's like the most question I get asked the most. And then if you tell them, they go, "Oh yeah, what else?"
Well,
go,
no one knows what anyone's doing. You can make stuff up. I was doing that with Mark Pitta would open for me, the comedian Mark Pitta in Vegas. This was even like 8 years ago, and we would make up. He had just starred in the sort of the Blackjack Network. He starred in I've Had Just About Enough of You, and he get a big applause like he's a star. Nobody knows what anyone's doing. No one sees anything.
They just want to. I just want to drop things in Deadline that I'm starting and then never do them. Just have people go, "Hey, I heard you got a lot of shit going on."
Spade, you should ask that Uber driver. Where have you been driving lately? I haven't seen you driving anywhere.
No, I've been all over.
They never get that. I always like when you're jealous. Like if your wife sees someone on TV, that guy's really handsome or whatever, or it's Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt or something. You know, the kind of thing you would say is like, I don't get it. You know, I don't get it. You know, or like a great comic, like any great comedian. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't really get it. You know, but what are you going to do?
You know what? That stuff works. And you go, and they're like, "What do you mean that stuff?" No, that kind of comedy, that'll always work.
Yeah, comedy's very subjective, you know.
I had the stagehand in the wings right before I went out. "Hey, Mr. Carvey, last week we had Sinbad. Let me tell you something. That guy killed harder than any fucking comedian. He had the crowd in the palm of his hand, and he was doing all these jokes about local establishments and highways, and they went fucking nuts." Don't you love to hear that right before you go out?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I actually followed Sinbad and I couldn't. He killed so hard, and I was like, I'll just kind of beep bop up there, and I was starting to get nervous, going, "Oh, he's really killing," because it was a corporate gig, and he knew everything about the corporation. He's like, according to Section 42, and everyone's like, "Wah!" I go, "God damn!"
But Spade, what has he done lately? I haven't seen him around. You know what I mean? What's he been doing? You know, he's just kind of disappeared. You know.
He goes, "You know when you wear your underpants so much."
On the Guys and Dolls Network. The Guys and Dolls Network. He's huge. He's a primetime.
Actually, Dennis goes, "I did Star Search. I'm up against Sinbad. I'm doing my best fucking joke." Sinbad walks up after me and goes, "You ever wear your underpants so many times it's just a rubber band?" 4 stars.
Sometimes I watch movies with my son.
It's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's 14.
He's like, Spade, I wasn't sure if you were talking to me or if you had an indigestion right there.
I'm just talking to off camera to people.
Oh,
go ahead.
Well, sometimes I watch movies with my son. He's 14, and we'll be watching a movie, and he'll go, "Is that guy still alive? That actor? Is that actor still alive?" I go, "Yeah, that's Sandler. That's Adam Sandler." And then he goes, "What about that guy next to him?" I said, "That's me. That's me. I'm still alive."
So, Kevin, I asked David this a couple weeks ago, and I said, when you're watching TV and you're kind of bored, do you ever check the age of the actor and their net worth? And he doesn't. Have you ever checked the age of the actor or the net worth while you're watching a show?
I check the age sometimes, but like the last person I did that to was, what's his name? The guy from Jaws, the older
Robert Shaw.
Yeah, Robert Shaw. Because I remember as a kid watching that movie, he looked so old. And then I checked his age. He was like 46 or something like that.
Yeah, that's
in that movie?
Or 45, yeah.
Wow.
And he died. Yeah. He died in Ireland. He was driving with his wife and kid, and he didn't feel good. He got out of the car and he had a heart attack on the street at 47.
Whoa!
Well, should we end on that?
But so I checked his age when he did Jaws. You know,
put it on the side of the road and put me over and do me CPR.
Jaws, what a great.
You'll be pressing on me cavity. Kevin Nealon.
I check the age of the Disney kids when they're doing the movies. I say, how old is that kid making all that money?
I looked.
Do you know how old Nemo was? Nemo was just a child actor.
Yeah, he was, and then he. But you know what? There's a lot of fish in the sea.
Dory was. I don't know. Forget it. This bit's bombing. Anyway, Kevin, I got to jump off.
Kevin,
you and Danny can go on for a couple.
We've tortured
you. We got a million things going.
We've tortured you enough.
It's going to take a long time to unpack this show and figure out what happened.
Yeah, we got to edit this down.
We can edit the shit out of this, man. I had
was it like 5 minutes? Is it a 5-minute show?
Kevin, we're going to get you a copy of this.
Hang on a second, guys. What is it, Marcy? Marcy says I need to do warm-ups. for the show.
You got to get going and do warm-ups.
Yeah,
Lauren wants
yeah.
you. Lauren's
We
mad
are
at you.
going to have Marcy Klein as a guest on this show
for
because
sure.
she is the linchpin
Definitely.
of a lot of the era of
She
Saturday
knows
Night Live.
stories.
She was the mother, the dog. She was everything. She was behind the scenes, above the scenes. So yeah, she's got a lot of great stories.
All right, Kevin. Thanks, buddy. Good
Oh,
talking
wait a minute.
to you.
I got a great story for you guys.
Oh boy. Go ahead. Oh, he hung up.
Okay, that was the hook.
Oh, good
That's
one.
a funny.
Yeah.
That's funny shtick.
Hey, what's up, flies? What's up, fleas? What's up, people that listen? We want to hear from you and your dumb questions.
Questions? Ask us anything. Anything you want.
You can email us at flyonthewall@cadence13.com. Hey, everybody. Spade here. I apologize for looking badass. I just threw this coat on because it was 95 today, and I want to look cool. But listen, I get a lot of questions. Dana and I both do. I'll answer this one. Norm Macdonald, obviously big in the folklore of SNL and how great he was and blah, blah, blah. We all know about Norm, and a lot of the questions are any Norm Macdonald stories. Obviously, we have hundreds. One of the ones I like is when we would text. He's like a child, he's nothing normal about him, so it's infuriating. And he would text in the middle of nowhere. He was a big time canceller of plans, one of the all time greats, and also with the shenanigans you have to put up with. So let's say he texts me, David, what are you doing? And then I answer, I go, oh, hey Norm, what's going on? And then he waits about 2 weeks. Then he goes, hello, David, don't you like me anymore? And I go, Norm, I did answer you. What do you need? Do you want to meet up? Do you want to go eat? And then about 4 a.m, David, why do you hate me? And then it would go into this one. Do you like money? And I go, yes. David, would you like to win money beyond your wildest dreams? No, he didn't say win. He goes, would you want more money than you could ever count? And I go, of course I would. And then like 4 days later, David, are you still thinking about the money? And I go, I am. And he goes, if you really like it, I'll tell you how you can get it. And I go, please. And then about 3 days later, he says, bet the under on the Chicago Blackhawks in the first period. First of all, how much am I betting where I'm going to win money beyond my wildest dreams? Do I have to bet $1 trillion? I said, I'll put a nickel on it. It sounds like gambling talk. I don't even know what it means. But that he would do that and then he'd pee in a bottle. But Norm was, there's too many Norm stories that are too funny. But he's always like this. He's very stiff. Ah! You ask him any normal question, he answers it like it's crazy. Me and him and Dennis Miller did a gig right before the Corona. All of us 3 crazy people. And he goes, David, when's the show? I go, 8. He goes, what? I go, Norm, there isn't a more typical showtime in the world than 8. If it was 7:45, you could say that. If it was 8:01, you could say that. You can't say it at 8. And then if you tell him any real news, like, oh my God, Russia just invaded LA, he goes, oh yeah, when? That doesn't shock you? They invaded LA? They dropped a bomb in LA today? You're supposed to go, what? That's when you say, what? He's got it all mixed up. Anyway, Norm's great. We do miss him. Thank you for the question. Now we can go to the show. The truth is, Jennifer Lopez, if you've noticed, and I'm not a conspiracy guy, she gets married, then does a wedding about getting married. No, she gets married, then does a movie about getting married, then gets married, then does a movie about getting married, then gets divorced, one more movie about getting married. Does that sound like it's possible?
I see where you're going with that. There's a lot of
It's already over.
machinations. You have a PR person, FYI, it wouldn't be bad if you were seen dating so-and-so.
That's true.
Clicks and views, David. I know you think it's romance.
Emily
we're trying to do
Ratajkowski
good work, but it's all
is
about
dating
clicks
Eric
and views.
Andre.
Who is?
Emily Ratajkowski. She's on a real tear.
Emily Ratajkowski. Yeah.
Get with the program, Dana.
She should shorten that to Emily R. I think Ratajkowski's too.
How about Emily the Rat?
That seems kind of mean in a way.
No.
Calling her a rat. I'm just saying.
Cute. Ratatouille was cute.
I turned down the voice of Ratatouille.
No, you
that
did
Yes.
not. We just stumbled into it.
I went and visited Pixar. They wanted me to do the lead rat, and I said it was during Bush Jr.'s administration.
During the bubonic
a
plague.
French rat. I thought this is gonna go down. I don't want to be the guy who took down Pixar. Next thing you know,
Wow.
700 million.
700 M later.
I don't make good choices.
No. All right, we're going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel.
First
Dana.
of all, how was your Christmas?
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Horrible. No,
Did
it
you get
was
sad eyes. You know when someone says, "Don't give me anything," and then that morning you see the sad eyes. I hate that.
mean because you didn't give me anything?
Yeah, no, I don't need anything, and then you see the sad eyes.
A lot of people cheat. They say no presents, and then one person does it.
You said, "Don't give me anything," and I just said, "Okay."
Yeah, we're fine. My mom does a thing. She does two things. First of all, she gives you lazy bags, which are it's a bag you get at the store with a piece of Kleenex and the presents in it. And I go, this isn't a present. This isn't wrapping a present. So it's a bunch of lazy bags. All you have to do is move it a quarter
I didn't know
inch.
they had a name like Lazy Susan. Lazy bags.
Yeah, I coined it, lazy bags.
That's cool.
And she goes, oh, it's only lazy bags this year, but it's fine. I'm 88. So she gave me that. It was great. And then, my mom was always like,
Oh,
oh, Davey,
I love
because
your
when I go
mom.
home, she goes, ding dong. And I go, I just stare and she goes, get the door. And I go, oh, what? Okay. And she goes, I go, who is it? She goes, who is it? I go, I don't know, Mom. It's your house. I don't know. Go check. And then it's like the neighbor girl who's 9. She made me a cake. She goes,
Oh, it was a
Davey, she
whole
made
big-
you a cake.
God, what a homecoming.
And
didn't
I
get
go,
any of
oh,
that.
that's nice. Well, why'd you make me a cake? Because you're famous. I go, oh, okay. And then I go, oh, give her a hug. Don't be like that. Invite her in. Talk to her. Say hi. Do some jokes from grown-ups. It's so hilarious.
You're on, totally on. You can't just relax.
I
at your own
can't.
home.
And she goes, oh, go ride bikes with her and her friends. When did you get like this? I go, Mom, I don't understand
You're
what I'm
gonna
doing.
go get on a bike without a helmet.
Don't pull your showbiz routine on us. Anyway, I want to know what my showbiz routine. But Jimmy Kimmel, you had a good Christmas. I'm just going to assume.
It was fine.
And I will tell you, Dana, I heard a lot about this Farley episode. I heard a lot of feedback. Maybe the most feedback we've heard on anything.
I think so. What does that say?
All positive, by the way. The most interesting thing was we were sent a email that gets sent in for the questions, the Q&A stuff. And we had a lot of response about people saying, it made me quit. It made me quit drugs.
That was very emotional. I got some of those
Yep.
links. Yeah.
It was very nice that was an offshoot of this, which was not really the intention, but it's nice that it hit people home. Because it was, as we sort of sold it, it was 90% fun and laughs, and then you just got caught off guard. And it's a very real situation, so we got emotional. People got emotional.
Yeah, we tried to treat it with respect and dignity and not make it. So apparently people really liked it. So that was cool.
It's very interesting. And, I'm going on my tour. My tour starts back up.
Never-ending tour.
And I'm going to Wisconsin. I'm going to Madison, where Farley's from. I'm going to Milwaukee. Going to Appleton. All the places I had heard about, and I don't think I've ever performed there. So looking forward to that and the others.
Are you playing Green Bay?
I don't think so.
Because
I'm trying to rally Aaron Rodgers out, by the way. How is Green Bay? I've been there to one game.
Mike Myers and I, back in the day, were
Schwing.
touring together, and we played, I think it was Green Bay.
Schwing.
And they said, they said,
I say it like 60 minutes, nodding serious. Schwing.
we saw in Wayne's World too. I did that bit where Garth was just hanging out and he was having a conversation. So anyway, I didn't know what to say to my dad, and a girl walked by, swing. Anyway, so that was like the only time Wayne and I got in a fight. Swing, swing, swing. He would hit him like,
Boneritis.
But they told Mike and I they love it when you say cheeseheads. So we're up there as Wayne and Garth, and we start going, "You're a bunch of cheeseheads," and we start chanting it, and they started getting really, really mad and booing.
Oh, they tricked you?
Yeah, we had to cut the show short, jump in a car. Don't look back, Garth.
Luckily, you weren't playing
So
Ratatouille.
don't say, "Hey, you cheeseheads," even if they tell you to as a joke.
Jimmy Kimmel is going to do that sounded like a hard cut. Jimmy Kimmel is
Jimmy
going
Kimmel-
to interview us today.
He's a friend of the show.
You've done his show a lot. I've done his show a lot.
Guest hosted.
He's a great dude. You've guest hosted too. And Jimmy, we thought of this weird idea where we get all these questions. So why doesn't someone interview us? It might slow us down from talking over our guests in the future. I don't think it will.
I've practiced, during the holiday break, I practiced talking over. Like my wife would say something, I just jump in. She goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm just practicing talking over."
I know. I took a cutoff class on the Learning Annex, and I practiced it at Thanksgiving dinner. I just stop everyone in their tracks and go, "So, a story about me." And they go, "Oh."
Actually, the truth is, I would listen. I go, during the holiday break, you should listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Every time I talked, I said out loud, "Shut the fuck up. What are you doing?"
If I hear a clip of me on that thing, I'm like, even when they show those little beginnings, like a minute of audio to promote it, I go, well, can I just shut the fuck up?
Because the guest goes, "Well, I like pancakes." And then I do 7 minutes on how I like pancakes before they can answer, and then they forget. So anyway, we never said we were good at this. We're going into season 2 with Jimmy Kimmel, but people ask, well, how did we get on an SNL? What's our story?
So Jimmy really asks the tough stuff. He digs deep. He mines a lot of gold, some silver and some sand. Up to you to decide.
He came at it a little different, right? Because we feel like we've told this story on other podcasts, but he actually really worked hard. He had a stack of notes and asked us a lot of intense questions and asked us a lot about hosts, which was an interesting take.
Yeah, it was. At first, I didn't know if he knew he was interviewing us because it was like he was just sitting there, and I go, "Does he think he's
like
being
60
interviewed?"
minutes.
Yeah, but I was like ready for the hard stuff, and it was really like Prince Harry and Meghan.
Here's a tease. He embarrassed
we really
me accidentally because I won't say the name of the host. You'll listen to it on the podcast of a host of SNL. Yes or no? Did they host? And I said no, and they had hosted.
Oh, he was doing
when
that.
I was a cast member, but I won't say it. So you have to listen to find out. But that was all due respect to that person who I forgot. It's only I spaced out. Sorry.
So listen to it. Here it is. We've talked enough, and here we are talking a little more.
How do we start? What's our theme? Our guest today is
You want me to start?
James Edward Kimmel. We've already started. We've been on for 4 minutes.
Oh, we have? Okay. Yeah. Well, I think we should establish that, first of all, I've never been on Saturday Night Live. I've only been to see the show in person one time, and that was in May of last year. Okay. Other times I've been there, but I get stuck in the office with a bunch of agents and stuff like that.
On TV up there. Yeah.
And nobody's watching the show. Everybody's just talking to each other, and it's depressing. But I did get to go to see the show in May. So, of course, I'm a guest that people are probably super interested in hearing from.
Did you ever harbor desires?
To be on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, you could be update guy or whatever.
Gosh, I didn't, I never set my sights that high. It never, ever would have occurred to me.
Yeah.
I was just a morning radio disc jockey hoping to continue being a morning radio disc jockey.
And what was your handle? Sorry.
I was known as Jimmy. They called me
Jimmy. And did you have an animal as a sidekick? Jimmy and the Bull or Jimmy and the Tomcat here at the?
I was on in LA. I worked in a lot of markets. I started in Vegas when I was in high school. Then I went to Phoenix. I worked at a radio station there, a couple of them. Then I got a job in Seattle. Worked at a classic rock station. Got fired there. Went to a station I went back to live with my parents for a while. Then went to a station in Tampa, Florida. I worked in Palm Springs, Tucson, Arizona, finally L.A. at K-Rock with Kevin and Bean, and I was the sports guy there. I was Jimmy the sports guy.
Sports guy. It seems like a lot of people in radio get fired.
They
especially
jump
around,
Yeah.
Well, what a memory.
Like maybe the most.
Maybe the most. Yeah, I got fired a lot of times, and the worst thing about being fired in radio is you then have to move from the city. You don't just get another job at another radio station. You're pretty much done.
Yeah.
I got fired a lot too. We'll get into that.
You did?
Everything failed and everything sucked.
But these were probably childhood jobs that you got fired from,
Paper
right?
out? No, this is like television shows and stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well,
That's
I'm not, you know what? I appreciate you guys being interested in me, but I'm here today to interview you guys because you guys interview all these people about Saturday Night Live, and you, as far as I understand, you guys were on Saturday Night Live. Now, I've not done a ton of research, but you were what, the Jesus Woman?
Jesus Woman was her original name, yes.
Right.
And David, did you know Chris Farley?
Like when Jimmy goes, I was at one show last year. You guys weren't on it. I don't get what's going on.
What happened? This is a fraud.
She said, well, I'm sure that sure is special, was her catchpatchphrase.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Rhythmically, not quite good. But anyway, yes, everyone wants to know, how do we get on the show?
How do you get on the show?
How do you get on the show?
And how do you get on it now?
That's what people ask me when they're leaving like a restaurant. Quickly, how do you get on Saturday Night Live? And I go, oh, do you have an hour 10? Because people want those quickly. How do you get into acting? You get those.
But
too.
for 25 years after being off the show, I'd still get, even today. Are you still on that Saturday Night Live show?
Do you really get that?
Well, at least for 10 years after you leave,
sure.
right? Yeah.
Wow.
People don't keep track.
Yeah, you'd think the world revolves around you, and yet it.
Yeah, and realize. I told my mom, it's pretty obvious that I'm off the show. Good night. Anyway.
Come on, guys. We have a crowd. You wouldn't think so.
A lot of pressure when you've got a crowd. With no audience, there's no pressure.
I know you guys have told these stories before, but I think it seems right to start with, how did you get on the show? Like, we'll start with David. How did you get on the show?
I was born in Michigan. We're going to go way back.
What I was told.
Well, that had to happen before
I
you
think
got on
it
the
takes
show.
so many steps to get seen in front of someone like Lorne or his talent people. It was stand-up around here at the Improv forever, Arizona first, then stand-up around here, and then we got to I think the big thing was I got on an HBO Young Comedian special. And when you do that, that's something that's national. And then someone in the talent department saw it, and Rob Schneider was on it also. So I was in the vortex of, hey, there's about 10, 20 people we should maybe look at this year. So we were brought out for an audition. Rob and I did it together and did a stand-up comedy club in New York.
When you say you did it together, you did individual performances,
yes.
or you were working as a team?
Yeah, and Rob and I were in a team, but we the same management, and we were buddies. And we knew Sandler, we knew Judd Apatow, we knew a lot of guys we were doing stand-up with, who eventually, like Sandler eventually got on pretty quickly after that. So we went out, auditioned with another comic, and did okay, not great, but they were looking at the writing, and then they hired us as writer-performers. So
you submitted a packet of
No,
sketches?
thank God, Lord Jesus.
They were looking at the writing as far as the jokes that you were doing in your stand-up. Oh.
And Dennis Miller told me, you don't want to kill too hard, Spudley. It's a fucking red flag.
They want to mold you a little bit. You come in at an 11, they kind of back off from that like it's a hot plate.
He goes,
Boy Scout jamboree, all right?
They don't want you to be a polished road hack.
I love doing Dennis because my IQ goes up and my vocabulary expands. Jeez, fly on the wall, huh? Okay, that's a catchy moniker for something.
And Dana,
everyone loves those insects.
And no offense, David, but Dana, it seems like it's like your talents. It's very obvious why you got the job. I mean, because David's just a funny guy.
It, yeah.
He's not doing characters.
No, you're right.
It wasn't as easy as you would think. Based on my own personality or insecurity. I mean, it's a longer story, but basically the brass tacks was I did a kind of cattle call audition at the Punchline in San Francisco. Al Franken was at that one. And years later, like 8 years later, he said, yeah, I kind of blew it. I should have taken you, But I was just passed over there. Uh-huh. Then, I don't know the exact dates, but a few years before I got the show, then there was a giant 25-comic jamboree at the Comedy Store. Cattle call, no MC, 5 minutes. Boom,
oh, boy.
Boom. In that original room, which is like a death room. Yeah. Like just
who else was there? Do you remember?
Well, degrees. I remember who I followed at midnight. A very young, very energetic man by the name of Sam Kinison. So Sam goes on, I mean, he literally levitates the room. It's shaking. It's just scorched earth. That's Pete Kennison, probably as good as it's ever been.
Yeah.
And Sam was hoping to get on Saturday Night Live?
Maybe. He hosted the first season. But then there's like, and they never got my name right. Now, Dana Falankadaba, So I go up there, and I die. I die a death. Well, isn't that special? I'm trying to do characters. Death, no. So that puts me in a depression for 2 months. In those days, you
So
didn't.
you don't get it, even though you were good. You just didn't.
I just bombed. I didn't. You couldn't follow Kennison in 5 minutes trying to establish a rapport, and I felt very, very nervous, which isn't a good thing. So then, freakily, in '86, they were casting again because '85 had a rough year, and my management team knew Lorne Michaels and so forth and so on, and so it came around to me. And I go, okay, I'm not going to do it at the Improv or the Comedy Store. I'm going to do it at Igby's on the West Side. It's gone now, but it was a 100-seat,
I remember
tight, packed crowd. I'd played there a lot. I kind of had a following. So, okay, Lorne wants to see you. So I called Rosie O'Donnell is headlining that week. I'd never met her. But the owner said, do you want to, Dana's going to bring Lorne Michaels. Can you fit him in? So I went there. My wife and I are driving there. And I'm as nervous as a human being can be. I didn't have the confidence I got later. Just thinking, oh man, this is it. You know, I auditioned a lot. I've been in LA a lot. And we went to get some gas. Our car was out and there was no gas in the gas station. We just both remembered that for years. We don't have gas here. What do you mean? We no gas, you know. So it's just one of those things you remember when you're scared out of your mind. So I go there, I meet Rosie O'Donnell, and she seems like her maturity and confidence like she's 50 years old. She was completely, fully formed, just, hey, what do you want to do? So we kind of drew straws or talked about it. I'll go on first. But this time I get 40 minutes with a real audience, not an industry audience. And so I'm waiting off to the side, just like, whoa, let's see what happens. And I see, I don't know what order they came in. I think it was Brandon Tartikoff. I think Lorne second. The head of the network, Lorne Michaels. And I'm like, fuck. And then it's Cher.
What?
And Cher.
She got a vote?
Because I didn't have enough pressure on me.
Tiebreaker.
But they walked like from behind a curtain. Here he is, the head of the network, Brandon Tartikoff. And the guy who discovers all comedians, Lorne Michaels. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, Cher.
She comes into her song.
Yeah. Do you believe in her? You know, so she's singing and dancing. So anyway, I go up. At that point, I had turned down a pilot spinoff from Punky Brewster 2 years before called Fenster Hall for $30,000. I finally said, I can't take the punishment anymore because I was being cast a lot as a cutesy, nice guy.
30 grand a week?
For the pilot.
Wow.
So then I just did stand-up like crazy in San Francisco all over. So I was in pretty good shape. I would give my set like a C minus, but Lorne says later, I was already thinking about how to use you on the show. So
you'd have to believe that if Brandon comes to the audition, and you know these executives don't want to go to anything ever, and Lorne comes, and then they say to Cher, "Hey, why don't you join us?"
Well,
that they you probably were in pretty good shape going into that.
They gave me confidence. Brillstein Gray, Mark Gervitz, Bernie Brillstein came to see me a month before this. Now, Bernie, if people are listening now, was kind of like a big, lovable teddy bear Santa Claus. Yeah. In those days, he was probably 50, but he seemed like the old timer of all time. He saw me, and I'd seen people pass me over a lot. You know, he saw me and went, we're not even going to give him to Saturday Night Live. He's a fucking movie star. That was a direct quote, you know. But I go, I kind of want to be on Saturday Night Live. You know, it's only my childhood dream. So I had to let go of this management before who didn't want me to do the church lady.
Oh, wow.
I got standing ovation at the Comedy Magic Club. They got me in the back room, and they said, you got to stop doing the church lady. It was only 5 minutes out of a 90-minute set at that point. And they go, you're coming off gay. You're coming off gay? What is my... Well, it's not... I mean, I guess so.
They don't get on TV.
But anyway, I was able to... Yeah, we don't want them around here. So I was able to jettison that management company. That's all right. And go with Brillstein Gray and Goritz, Brillstein Entertainment Partners. And that changed everything for me. And then the Igby's. And then I had to audition another time a week later or something. And I thought Jim Carrey was there. I know I met Phil Hartman, and we had to go do the audition, kind of like they do in 8H. It was just 10 people and me up there doing shtick for everybody. And Lorne would kind of tilt you, I think, to test you.
Do you think those terribly tense situations are hurdles that they want to see if you can clear those hurdles, because ultimately you are going to have to be on the show live and you can't melt down.
In that situation where you're kind of vulnerable up there, and I knew Dennis Miller, he was sitting there, and Nora Dunn, and Lorne would kind of dig at you a little bit. We've seen enough of that. Do you have anything else? Right in the middle of your audition. And I think it was a test to see when the red light comes on and it's 20 million, 3, 2, 1, your life, your career, your family, all your loved ones counting on you. Boom! Can you deliver? So, but if I could, it was just from the 10,000 hours in a club.
Dana actually, a different path, obviously more built for SNL than me. And when he went out, his first show was cold opening church, and the lead guy in a lot of sketches, I was worked in almost too slowly, so it was more frustrating to go year after year writing for these guys, helping, writing update jokes, getting in the background. So by the time I go on, it's not quite as terrifying, but still terrifying. But as I'm sure for Dana, just that first time, even though he's a seasoned performer, it's way, way different. This is the only thing that really matters. More people see you that first sketch than all of your stand-up combined in your whole life.
Yeah.
My entry in there was 86, so that was pre-18 cast members. So they had purged the year before. We had John Lovitz, Phil Hartman, and myself as the primary men, and then we had Nora Dunn and Jan Hooks, the late great. And Victoria Jackson.
How many? That was it? 6 cast members?
Six main cast members. We had Kevin Nealon as a feature and A. Whitney Brown, Dennis Miller. So then when I got on the first show, that I was there for a month. I was at Lorne Michaels' house for a month too, which is a whole nother story. But I worked on the church lady character. But it wasn't, no one knew if it would work or kill or anything.
Lorne moved you into his home? Is that because you were coming off gay?
Well, I got... It's just, I'm not saying you are gay, but you come off gay.
See how it feels?
I don't know, it's that thing of like, people are going to wonder, and it's good if like they really know where you're coming from. What?
I need a decorator.
I don't know if David spent time. I spent a month in Long Island at Lorne's house. In Amagansett with Lorne, and Paul McCartney came over, and Chevy Chase was there, and I'd never been on television.
He adopted you,
basically. Yeah, you could have Jack's room, so I was in where Jack Nicholson would hang out.
Oh, okay.
I'm calling my friends back in San Francisco. I'm staying in Jack Nicholson's room. Paul McCartney and Chevy Chase are here. How are you doing?
Wow.
So
just to go back a couple of steps, if
back.
I could.
Yes.
When you guys are, like you're talking about David auditioning with Rob, who's your friend, and you're auditioning with 25 other people, some of whom I assume are your friends. What is it like when you get that job and then those people you auditioned with and came up with don't?
It worked a little different for us because I didn't really know anyone who didn't get it.
Really?
I met
everyone you know got hired by Saturday Night Live.
That's pretty. People wanted to get to know David.
I was new. I was newer in town and just doing the improv, and not in the Comedy Store said no to me, so I had the improv, and I didn't know that many people were auditioning or got that call like Rob and I did, but I knew a lot of comedians. But there was one. He mentioned Brandon Tartikoff, who was the most powerful person in town, if you remember back then.
Sure.
He had Cosby Show. Every big show was on. And they said he saw you do 5 one night at the show. He wants to meet you and maybe give you a development deal or make a show for you. And I was freaking out. I saw Kevin Pollak the day before, and he goes, this will be your biggest break. So they give me sides. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I told you this, Dan.
Sides.
They give me sides, which is a little bit of a script. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what sides are. And so I had to go to a coach and just say, hey, coach me to read this shitty script. It's just like one scene. They just have to see, like, I'm in the vicinity of knowing what I'm doing, and they're going to give me some money to try to make a show for me. So this motherfucking head of casting was there. So it was every big shot of NBC. I'm waiting, shaking in the in the waiting room of NBC, and we used to call Brandon, call him tartar sauce. So I go, is tartar sauce here? I can't wait all day. So I'm waiting, and then they go, his name was Dennis something. He comes up. And he goes, oh, they're going to see you. It'll just be a second. There's one more person there having a meeting with him. By the way, we're not doing that scene anymore. We're doing this one. And he hands me a script. It could have been in Chinese. I didn't know what the fuck's going on. I go, what do you mean? I read this one? And I didn't have any coaching. So I was so new. I just walked in and read it to them. And then they go, thank you. And that was it. Nothing. I got nothing. no development deal, bad feedback. And I had to go in and do 2 years of classes and Rob was in it with me. And because I don't know enough, and I thought I was Eddie Murphy, just like, oh, I'm just funny. What do you need really to know? And I knew, and I had to do so much just to start getting auditions again.
Fucking Dennis.
God,
Dennis is
that
always
motherfucker.
there.
Yeah, it wasn't Dennis Miller. It was Dennis, head of casting, and I was just. It was like slow motion. Switches the scripts. I look at this one. I probably turned it up to the anniversary. He's like, "No, it's this way." And I'm
Isn't
like,
it funny looking back now? Now
Oh,
you'd go
God.
like, "No, I'm doing the other one."
yeah,
That would
like,
be the end of it.
No, I know this one, but
Yeah.
no confidence at all. Just like do what you're told.
I should have taken the 2 years of acting lessons. I once read for Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward
Holy
for
shit!
Tonto and Son, and they would pair us off. And
The
I
gay
was,
kid.
Yes, yeah. And I was with this really good actress, and they paired us off. And then Paul Newman was so charming, and she had a little dog, and he had Red Sox on, and I bombed so bad that I ruined it for her. I mean, it was, and then
Took her down with you.
I can't. We walked outside and I go, "That was kind of weird." And she goes, "Yeah, it was kind of fucking weird." And then she got in the elevator.
Can I read with someone else?
I was so bad I destroyed other careers. It was not a good. But I did a lot of shit like that.
Who did you leave behind, Dana? Who was your comedy friend?
Well, I would say that Kevin Pollak, we did a lot of stand-up together, great impressionist, great actor. The planets never lined up for him, but I thought he would be,
they did elsewhere, obviously. But
he's
not
done
on
great.
Live.
Yeah, but that would have been a natural fit for Kevin.
Did you go, when you guys were in there, were you pushing for your friends?
Oh,
you knew
no.
were
The
funny?
guy who
Not
was,
immediately.
The guy who you wanted
Let me
them
get
to
settled.
hire people that you felt you could compete or dominate. You didn't want them to hire anyone that good. You didn't want Jim Carrey in there. Yeah, I don't know.
Is
What's
that
the
true?
deal with Jim Carrey?
Is that true, or is there some truth to that
Well,
statement?
you
or
have no control over that, first of all. I know that it came down to, I think, for the final spot, Lorne, as I remembered, said, well, maybe somebody tall like Chevy. And I had been living with Kevin Nealon, where I met him before I got on SNL. Somebody tall. That's what I remember. And I go, I know a tall guy.
Not even that funny. Just really.
So Rick
tall.
Overton was right in the lane. The great Rick Overton was right there.
Yeah.
So Kevin flies out, and with his style, he was just
Height.
standing in his height. God, was he tall?
Oh, still is.
Yeah. He's
Big
not.
man.
He's one of the tallest comedians I've seen.
Lawrence, you're hired. He hadn't even started doing his comedy. We want you because you're tall. But anyway, that Kevin nailed it. Just standing there. His stand-up is so casual. You didn't even know when he starts or he ends.
Yeah.
And he killed. And I think Lorne in those days did it a little bit like a sitcom. Like you want these different flavors. Like Phil had his lane, Lovitz had his lane, I did my thing, and then Kevin.
Well,
Dennis.
if you have sketches, you go, okay, who's going to play the dad? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a legitimate
That
thing you
makes
don't
sense.
think of.
Phil.
And then you go, Phil's a
Phil's gonna
solid
play.
dad every time.
Game show host, going to be Phil.
Right.
If no one else
Exactly.
is around.
That's
He was the glue. I think it was my nickname, doesn't have to be. We called him the glue because he kind of held the show together. He couldn't.
I called him the sticky stuff.
common
and then,
problem.
You need some glue on that
cleared it up.
microphone.
Oh, no.
No, Jimmy-
I've always had mic problems.
By the way, when I got there, it was me and Robbie, and then we were suggesting maybe writers, Fred Wolf and some other people, and then Sandler was, I think, our first one we kind of pushed, because Farley and Chris Rock came right after us. So we did 4 shows. I remember Dennis is like tough love dad. He goes, you better get something on or they're going to get rid of one of you dudes. I mean, fucking, you don't bring a guy back, you can't write for shit. I'm like, 4 shows? And I thought, oh, that'll be easy. Meanwhile, you can't even look like you have a decent script at read through. Everyone's like, it just so stands out as shitty, until you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And you're competing against all these great writers. So we have 4, then we do the summer. We do come back, but when I walk in, that's Rock and Farley. So now those guys get to be our crew. Sandler gets there maybe 3 months later. So about pushing for Sandler, I would just say, yeah, this guy kills and he does well. I didn't know, I had barely any influence there, but just one more voice saying he's great, and then Sandler sort of parlayed every strong movie has into SNL.
So you're saying you made Adam Sandler. You are responsible for his career. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow,
we call
that's
him
pretty
Sandu or Sandman. That was when it came
Yeah.
out.
What was it like? I still think it's crazy that Adam Sandler was released from that show. I mean, is it fair to say he was fired from the show?
I didn't even know that, honestly, till like a year ago, because
When he
Farley
hosted,
and
he talked
Sandler
about
were
it.
so big on the show. Yeah, did you hear this? Because
I heard he was fired, but sometimes I think things just peter out. Like, had he done Billy Madison? Was he kind of on his way?
he had done big movies, and so had Farley. It was time. I should have just gone, but they were going to something, and I wasn't. So I said, I'm going to stay another year. But then that felt like I was.
But you were invited to stay another year, and it seems so crazy, especially
that I was and they weren't. Yeah.
No, not that, but that Adam Sandler was unquestionably
Well, he was.
one
I
of
think
the
he was
most
too big a
popular-
star, and maybe
He got fired for being too big a star.
I don't know if he got fired. I can't. We should
I don't
ask
really
him.
know.
He says he got.
Do you want to get
fired.
on the
Yeah.
mic for a second, manager?
Did he get fired, or have you heard, Mark?
I believe he was fired.
And
I believe
Farley
so,
too.
But it seems seems insane. But I'll tell you, Adam was a man with a plan from day one. I mean, he would, even before he started to score on the show, he started doing stuff with Robert Smigel, and he goes, "Yeah, he's a great writer, Carvey. I'm going to put him in all my movies." And I was like, "What? You just got here." Adam had, for whatever reason, he had Frank Sinatra confidence, and I asked him once, "Where did it come from?" He said, my dad we'd go to the Little League game. Adam was a pretty good player, but his dad would go, "Look at that kid. That's a ball player. That's a ball player." And then his mom, when Sinatra would come on, she'd say, "You're better. You're better than Sinatra." So he had both sides. If you can try to create someone with that drive and talent. But
Yeah. It's funny. A lot of comics, they do it to prove their parents wrong, but it sounds like Adam had the entirely opposite
You're
situation.
not a good baseball player. You're a human god. I don't know. Maybe for people out there with a baby,
You
just
need
think
one
this,
cheerleader. Hopefully, my mom was a huge cheerleader, and my dad was gone. Anyway, Dana.
but you don't have any daddy issues. My dad, unfortunately, stayed, and there was a monster in the neighborhood, and it was Dad.
My dad, when I told him I got a radio job in Seattle, which was a big market, and this is all I wanted. I was in college at the time, not really going to class at all. And I said, I got a job in Seattle. My father said, I'll pay you $200 a week to stay here at home.
Oh, wow.
Because he didn't think radio was
Or
classy.
he missed you.
I don't know. They just didn't want me leaving the house. And luckily I said, no, I think I'm going to move and
How
be
old
an
were you?
adult.
I'll take
I was
my
in
100.
college.
On college, and there, your dad was, "Don't go. I'll pay you to
they
hang
didn't
out with
want
me."
to leave.
Oh, we can watch TV, Jimmy.
I'd still
doubled
be
your
there,
salary.
making $800 a month.
But you came from a loving, secure family,
yes,
all things
very
considered.
much so. Yes, very much
That
so.
explains a lot.
Yeah.
Well, you seem like
I don't know
a
what to
well-centered, happy person. We're wounded little clowns. I'll
so
tell you what.
beat up.
I had 5 years of therapy. I need 5 more.
Dude,
I mean,
I'm a
I am
powder
fucked
keg.
up.
It sounds like,
He's
though,
a human.
you found a real father figure in Lauren, who I still can't believe he moved you into his house. I mean,
Sit on my lap.
he must have taken an extreme liking to you.
He would sit on my lap. I would sit in his lap, and we'd be the puppet.
Can you imagine moving someone you just auditioned and hired into your
so
home?
weird. I don't
Come
like
out.
you guys here right now.
You know, he. I guess he did take a liking to me when I first met with him alone in a room. He goes, but there's someone here, and he goes off on things, you know, someone you want to have dinner with, you know, when it comes to the cast. There's someone who came in, I thought they're like really, really talented, but there was something about their shoes. And then I looked out at my shoes, I guess they passed the test. But he did literally
Keds.
said I couldn't have them because of those, you know, high top kids on a grown man don't work.
Has he, to your knowledge, allowed anyone else on the cast to live in his home?
People have gone there for
Gone there is one thing.
Well, I moved
A
in.
month.
I moved in there for a month, but Whitney would come and go. I don't know if he stayed there. Chevy Chase, Whitney Brown. Do you remember him?
Yeah, A. Whitney Brown. yeah.
Really funny because the night that Paul came there and nervously played a song for us, it was Chevy, Lauren, me, and Whitney, and then Paul and Linda.
When you say Paul, you mean McCartney, not Schaefer.
No. I'm sorry. I thought people
Could be either.
Well, I thought I'd play a little thing for you. I don't know if it's any good, you know. And he leaned into me right as the song started. I guess he had it on a CD. He goes, sometimes when you're writing, you try so hard to live up to whatever, you end up ruining the fucker. This is him saying it to me right as the song goes on. So he's very vulnerable. The song plays. There's a pause. A. Whitney Brown goes, sounds like Julian Lennon. What sounds like Julian Lennon. And Lauren said Paul would still mention that years later. This is the fellow who thinks I sound like Julian Lennon.
God damn.
Is he going to be around, you know, because I
This
like
is
to be on
why
the other side of the table.
Celebrities don't hang out with regular
Oh, we're
people.
all wounded. He couldn't have said anything. Sounds
fucking say
like
that?
Julian Lennon.
That's crazy.
So
Getting his
anyway,
head.
that happened.
I went to dinner there once. So, I don't know if you remember this, Jimbo. When for Howard, I did the Beth's cat
Oh yes, you
charity.
did the
I did a
benefit for the
stand-up
North
out
Shore
there.
Animal League.
So,
yeah.
so Howard and Beth came, and Lauren and some people were there. Some celebrities
Of course,
were
we're talking about Howard Stern.
peppered around
and his
Howard
wife,
Stern.
Beth. Yeah.
And so doing this charity show, but I was extra nervous because it was very small, and there's a lot of those people, and they don't see me do stand up, and it was kind of scary. So anyway, there's Lauren, and then there's seat empty. They go, well, should we hold for Jack Nicholson? I go, oh no, he's not coming in the fucking front row, is he? So they don't hold. Now my whole set, I'm like, where the fuck is Jack? He's missing my Southwest bit. And so then afterwards, Lauren goes, dinner at the house? And I was like, oh, the one Dana stays at?
Well, I was staying there.
So I go, Dana's not there right now, is he? So
It was
this
called
is just
Dana's room
2
later
years
on.
ago. So I go over and we have dinner, and then there's an empty seat again, and then Jack does come in and sit down. How was it? I missed it. Yes, it was 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Past the meatballs. So he ate, and it was very fun. So that was my big Lauren house, but it was a timer on it.
But he didn't invite you to stay for 29 more days.
Tired?
Just that night.
I have bunk beds.
Dana, does he keep the room as you left it, like my mother has at my
very
childhood home?
nice.
Lauren keeps Dana's
It's like
room.
2 single beds, and one morning I came in and he was making the bed. I want the pillow to sit right.
Dana's
You've got to
soccer
tuck the
trophy.
sheets. I go, Lauren, you don't have to do this, or I feel like I'm your dad. You're only 10 years older than me. Well, it can happen in different countries, third world. There can be a 10-year-old father.
Did you? Who was better at pitching sketches to Lauren?
Out of us?
Yeah,
I don't remember really.
you didn't really
pitching.
pitch sketches.
Well, we pitch them in the meeting. We have all the other writers. So you're really
Lauren
trying
is there or no?
Lauren is there.
Okay.
It's Monday evening. Everyone's packed in his little office, and there's usually a nervous host sitting in a chair.
So it's Lauren and the host facing this way. Lauren behind his desk, host in a big chair. Everyone is sitting on the floor, chairs, couches, standing, jammed, boiling hot. And then Lauren just like has a, certs or a Twizzler, and he goes, David, anything for Tom Hanks? And then he just goes through, and then you go, oh, and you have a little legal pad, and you go, I was thinking maybe you play Sully, but you're just at a.
Do you work harder on the Tom Hanks pitches than on, let's say, Kyle MacLachlan?
Well, I always do fake pitches because if you pitch it in the room and then the bubble's been burst, you want to save it for read-through.
All strategy.
So it'd be like, I'm going to be a dancing popsicle with John Lovitz, and we sing a song. And that's just a fake pitch.
And then people laugh. And then you go, that's the fake one. But then sometimes the host comes around to your room later and goes, Are you the one working on the dancing popsicle bit? And you go, no. And they're like, I love that. And you're like, that was a fucking fake.
And then you go, Michael Jordan, relax.
Yeah.
You're not going to play.
Were you guys both there when Michael Jordan hosted the show?
Oh, yeah.
Was he in that Monday meeting?
Yeah.
I think he had to be.
Was
yeah.
there, did the whole run of the whole thing.
Was there were there any buffer people who were like, oh no, yeah, Michael's not going to do that. Michael will do that, or was it just
really
Michael?
remember.
Are the buffer people allowed in those meetings? Because we deal with
No.
buffer people a lot.
Sure.
Really?
And the buffer people often
Demand.
do a disservice to the people who need to get the laughs on the show.
Like where
So-
they never hear the actual idea.
Yeah, they
because
never hear.
It's
They're
turned
like,
down
no,
before it gets to them.
He
Yeah.
can't do that because he was divorced in 1975. And you're like, this doesn't really have anything to
I
do
think
with
he
that.
would think it's funny. Let him decide.
Well, the
yeah.
really fascinating thing for me that week with Michael Jordan was that, it's a fish out of water, the greatest player ever, but he's got a lot of sketches. And we're about to go out in the live show in a sketch, and he's got some heavy dialogue, and you're behind the slats, the band's playing, the audience is there. And I could tell, he had the script in his hand for last minute jamming, and I could tell he kind of had cotton mouth. It was a little tense. I said, Michael, just go out there and read it right off the cue card. Christopher Walken does it. Don't even worry about that. And it kind of trying to calm Michael Jordan down about anything was a unique situation. Sting, too. Sting would be like, how's my hair? We're going into an elevator sketch. How's it now?
I like Sting in the
It looks
elevator. I
good.
remember
How
that.
about now? It looked better before. Fuck! No. But
Who was the most nervous of the hosts?
Rosanna Arquette.
Rosanna Arquette was
wow.
most nervous.
I don't know. She was a
was a
little
good answer.
emotional. She was great, but I remember you'd hear that someone was sobbing somewhere.
Yeah.
And whatever host was
full nervous breakdown.
Was broken down. With Steven Seagal, you would just go by his office and you just hear all you'd hear is and some woman having an orgasm. Right? No, that's all you'd hear. You'd go by and they come out and fluff up.
I hope there was a woman in there.
I think sometimes Friday night is the night to collapse. If you were even on the show, even when I went back to host, Friday night is the night when the hosts go, "You're joking. The sets aren't even all built yet. And all the lines are different from read through. We haven't even rehearsed all of them once. The show is tomorrow." And that's if they cry or have a breakdown because they go, "We can't do this." And everyone's
it
like,
happens so rarely. It seems like it should happen more.
Oh, almost every Saturday night, especially the dress shows would go longer and longer, where you're still doing the practice show and it's like 10:45 and the real show goes on in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I go, they're going to put up an old movie tonight. We're never going to make it. This is the worst
It's when
thing
you
ever.
start hoping for an earthquake or something.
Anything.
It's preemption of some kind.
Jim Downey, who had such ADD, he would write really, really well, like at 11, like right outside the office.
He needed to get right
He
down
needed
to
to
it.
be, no, you cannot procrastinate for one more second. You give you 5 gems at or they'd say it's in the cards. When you're going on to a set, it'll be in the cards. So you're going to live read.
That's how I order dinner. I look at the menu and everybody orders. They come to me last. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll have the branzino.
I have to order now. Yeah. Time's up. Yeah, that's how it is.
Some of these people, though, I'm looking through a list of some of the people who hosted the shows when you were both on. And some of these people, like, have no business hosting a show like this. I mean, really, I think this might have been right before you were on, David, but George Steinbrenner hosted the show with Morris Day and the Time.
I love Morris Day
They
and
do
the Time.
funny combos like that. Steinbrenner is a New York institution, and that's what Lorne, if you're New York centric, someone from a play can get it. He loves New York, and his friends are from New York, so he likes to go, we got, the lead from, but there was a run there where we had the second or third lead from some
I just want to
shows
insert
instead
this
of
is
the
that
first.
here's the secret of the show, in my opinion. I figured it out yesterday. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's good. So you're watching this billionaire owner of a baseball team try to do sketch comedy, and he sucks. Not his fault. I find that really compelling to watch live and watch people bomb.
Do you find it disheartening when Kim Kardashian is on and she's funny and you go, well, okay, well, where are we now? I mean,
I saw her monologue and said, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, what are we? Are we ventriloquist puppets?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. When you become that famous and your comedy bit is all about the entire audience knows what you're talking about.
You've got to.
But she landed that beautifully, and Chris Rock did say, monologue of the year about Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, it was really good.
And it was just crushed.
Also, it's out of nowhere, so you get extra points.
Yeah.
because
She scored so hard, a part
good.
of me did die.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I don't like about what those celebrity roasts became, because it went from being a bunch of comics goofing on somebody they presumably knew to famous people reading lines a bunch of mean comedy writers handed to them.
Meanest, angriest comedy writers.
Yeah, the meanest,
assassins,
angriest.
Yeah.
What I don't like about that show, but Jeff Ross is great. The show's kind of brilliant, right? But I
certain
watch
people
it.
like Jeff Ross. Yeah, he's a master
He's
at it.
a master at it.
Yeah.
But I watch it and I'm like, ha ha ha. The person who's being roasted is ha 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 with relaxed eyes, kind of ha 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 ha. And then at some point you see the shot where there's wounded pain behind whoever is
brutal.
being roasted.
You mean
Like,
Chevy, right? You're talking about
Chevy
Chevy
was the
specifically?
original. He was the fountain.
Wasn't he
of-
the one where I watched and I said, oh, these guys don't even know him? And it went from Dean
Yeah,
Martin
none of
roast,
them knew him.
where it was fun, and they were like, Don Rickles would go, Dean, we've drank together, and they do a little joke. It was like, sometimes you wake up and your hair looks messy, and then everyone's like, ah. But it got so rough over the years, but they don't know each other. So Chevy's looking down at some guy he doesn't know, and they're like, hey, you fucking asshole, look over here. And they're like, are you talking to me? And then you're like, how are these people have any business talking to a huge star like this and then really taking their legs out?
Well, yeah, although I think it
do you
maybe
love it?
says something about the person when his friends who are funny don't come to roast him. So maybe it means like they're like, oh man, he's not going to take this well, or maybe they're just like, I don't know.
Have you been roasted, or do you want to be roasted?
No, I've roasted, but I have not been roasted.
Yeah.
But you always get roasted while you're
in the vicinity.
Yeah, if you're in the room, and I've done like 5 or 6 of those, you get roasted, and sometimes you get like. I don't know. Jeff Ross was in the elevator with Drew Carey, and Drew said it was one of the early roasts. He goes, "Who's roasting tonight?" And he goes, or it was the night before. He says, Jimmy Kimmel, Adam Carolla, and Drew Carey goes, "Anybody funny?" And Jeff, of course, reported this to me immediately, and I stayed up all night writing the most vicious Drew Carey jokes. I mean, I flayed him. I tore the skin off his body.
See, that's why you're a success. That's why you're.
And he was
successful.
like, Jesus Christ, because he didn't know where it came from. He was probably just joking, you know.
I remember an old Pam Anderson one. I go, she asked me to do it, and I said, "Yeah, I'll send a video."
I was the roast master. Of that.
Okay, I think I sent a video in because I'm changing my lie. I think I sent a video in because I go, I don't know in the room. I just don't want to really be there because you get caught in the crossfire. And I think that was one where they go, "Speaking of anal warts, Andy Dick is here," and the spotlight goes, and he's like, "What the fuck? I'm in the audience. Like, I didn't know I could get it.
I was in the parking garage and I got wounded. You know?
Suddenly a light comes on.
They call you at home.
Yeah.
Was he ever funny? You know, I'm like down the block at Sardi's.
Speaking of, when you're talking about Saturday Night Live and how one guy has to be the dad, one person has to be the mom, etc., that's kind of how those roasts are. In that, like, you know, somebody's got to be the slut, someone's got to be old, somebody's got to be over. You know,
And who is the mic dropper of consistently? I mean, Norm Macdonald got famous for going against it with his corny jokes, which was hysterical. But Ross is the ultimate, right?
Yeah, sure. He's the roast master.
Martha Stewart got some good ones in on that one roast.
Yeah, but that's annoying, right? I mean, she doesn't remember any of those jokes.
Right?
She thought they were recipes.
You say this,
and then
it will kill.
Yeah, the context of it.
Some of these people. Jimmy Smits and World Party were on.
Was I there for that?
Spade's first episode. That must have made quite an impression on you.
Was it? I remember
he was skilled. He was good.
I don't remember tons about that one. Most shows is really depressing because you go to read through. My first read through, I did Life Alert. I wrote it for Jan Hooks. I didn't know you should probably put the host in. I just thought you can write for the cast, the host. You learn later if the host isn't, it's got a better chance. So, because the host is partially picking. So I write it for Jan Hooks, who is like a host because she's so great. And it was like an old lady that was sad because Life Alert, she was lonely, so she keep calling Life Alert. I've fallen, I can't get up. Then they come over, and then she goes, I've put my hand in the toaster, and it's on dark. Hurry. And so they, anyway, then she just wanted to hang out with them. So it was fourth in read-through, which is another thing. Early in read-through out of 44 sketches is good. You have attention for about 10.
Yeah.
And then people doze off until like the last one they wake up. So fourth is good. It gets a lot. I'm a new writer. It doesn't get on. It gets close. And then after that, I kind of really whiffed. I had to have Conan, Odekirk, Smile. I keep asking him, how do I write this? How many are too many sets to write? The script is 48 pages long. They're like, no. It's got to be tighter. So I'm just freeballing it. I don't know one thing.
Who helped you the most with editing those
scripts? Those guys, Rob and I would sometimes write together. And then we were both, don't know shit. So we're freshmen. And then I would say Downey, you wanted his attention the most. Smigel, Odenkirk, and Jack Handy wrote so brilliantly, but it was so different out of my vortex.
He'd take a bath on Sunday and be all done.
And and I can't go to.
He would.
These are the Turners are there who are great. Everywhere you turn is a great writer / competition because X amount of sketches get on. I can't be. If I get one in, it's a fucking miracle. And then you got Mike Myers writing and Dana. Kevin Nealon, Dennis, everyone around you, Sandler, Farley. So, Rock, how can you be as good or better? And that took a long, long time. So I didn't. Some of those early shows, the point was, long story longer. If I wasn't in after read through, you're sort of done. I'm a writer mostly, so I'm just walking the halls while people are very busy around me, and that's crushing.
I love the athletes and the old movie stars the most.
Really?
Robert Mitchum and I were in a Jack Handy sketch. It was right before the show ends, and neither of us had any idea what the sketch was about. We were beekeepers in Indonesia or something. That was really cool. With Wayne Gretzky.
That's a very different to say. I could see totally you loving the old movie stars, but then it's weird that you loved also the guys who are real amateurs.
Well, Well, Gretzky was so charming, so Canadian charm. And so we're sitting in a sketch where we're playing movie stars. We're rehearsing, and we're Hollywood people advising Gretzky how to play hockey better. And I was Travolta. You ever think like everybody, the whole team just runs at the net? Just everybody goes right at the net. You know,
you were Barbarino, is what you were.
That was my substitute. Yeah, and I did it once on stage in Denver. I'm going, going like that, and then he was there and came and tapped me on the shoulder. I call it an impression tap.
Was he wearing the pilot outfit?
Yeah, he had the whole look on.
It's his hub.
But Gretzky and I had a sketch that that we were going to be water skiing with our shirts off at the end. And so I was just teasing. He's a great athlete. I just go, well, you know, because I was training at that point for a movie called Opportunity Knocks because I had to have my shirt off. So I was pretty fit, but I was just kidding him like, well, our shirt's going to come off. We'll see what you got, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
So then I thought he'd be just built as a professional athlete. So he'd take his shirt off and he's just emaciated on top. I look like Schwarzenegger compared to him. He's just all legs as the greatest hockey player. There's nothing on top. So that was a little thing that happened.
Yes, athletes' bodies have changed.
So never taunt an athlete to take their shirt off because you might be more fit than them.
Yeah, no, wouldn't that be the worst? I don't see that happening to me. Being more fit than an athlete or even Robert Mitchum for that matter. How would you handle watching yourselves on the show? Did you watch yourselves on the show? And if so, when did you do it? Did you like set the VCR on Saturday night and then go home and watch it on Sunday?
Couldn't watch it. Never wanted to watch it. David?
I'd watch Dana. No, but Dana, you could learn from these guys for sure. I sort of had to figure out my own lane of what I did. And I would watch.
So you would watch yourself and
say it again?
You would watch yourself.
Watching myself was tough because you could get a VCR. I still can't even listen to my own stand-up. I can't watch the specials. You just do it and you walk away and you say, I hope I'll just go by feedback. If people like it, it works or didn't. I feel this one worked. I feel this one was soft. And then you'll just go from there and try to get better. But with I don't even know what I'm saying.
Well, if you needed to watch your blocking or you had something you're curious about, but I just wanted to feel good out there, and I didn't want to go, oh, I thought it was better than that. But our friend John Lovitz, I guess he wouldn't mind saying that he did enjoy on Monday, he'd get a VHS tape. He's on the 17th floor down the hall, and he would watch all of his sketches and just laugh so loud. You'd hear John down there.
That's acting.
That's great. I want to see it again. And he had an assistant rewind it more. I want to see my entrance. John will hear this. Hi, John.
Know me.
But you could say that was good homework for John. I mean, he was obviously one of our all-time greats.
Great, yeah.
So he loved to watch himself.
The best thing is when you get Farley comes off stage and you go, oh, fuck that crowd. And he goes, what the fuck, dude? I killed. I go, oh, that's not your fault. And he goes, well, what are you talking about?
My most humiliating one, which I never watched, was me and Matthew Broderick, we were all in diapers. Like we were like babies with bonnets.
This is on the show?
On the show.
Okay.
A sketch with big diapers, bare-chested with bonnets and suckers. And I don't even remember what the sketch was.
I like it
But we
already.
just ate it. I mean, dead silence. And then the commercial break, we're still in the diapers. And the thing, we have to walk through the crowd. And I kind of waved at the crowd. And they looked away. They looked down.
That stinker. They want to be waving at.
Yeah, hey, what's up? You know, I'm in the diaper and the bonnet.
There are certain things in comedy bits that it's funny because they're based on other comedy bits, and I think the bonnet is one of them. It's based on like cartoons from like the 40s or something. I've never seen an actual baby in a bonnet.
No.
But we think, like, okay, yeah, you're a baby, you're going to be in a bonnet. And
Yeah.
It doesn't protect you from the sun. It doesn't do anything. No. It's like a hairband. I don't know. But we were in bonnets and diapers.
Did you ever go completely blank? And I know there are cue cards. And by the way, I do want to ask you something, because one thing that has bothered me consistently about Saturday Night Live for the whole run of the show is the placement of the cue cards. Because so often, you'll be sitting at the anchor desk or whatever and facing forward, because that's where the cue card, but you're supposed to be having a conversation with the person to the right of you. Why doesn't the cue card guy just move over a little bit and make it just a tiny bit more natural?
Jimmy.
Yes.
Calm down.
That was on my notes that I was going to ask today. What the fuck was with the cue card placement?
It's bigger.
Am I the only one noticing that?
It's a big problem. People people think you're too married to the cards, they used to say. So Wally, our card guy, maybe he's still there, you'd have 3 sets ideally, but sometimes you all have to decide where you're going to look at the cards, because if you go back and forth from the person to the cards, that's when it looks weird on camera.
Well, hold on. There's 2 things. There's update forward and then sketches. So go on about the sketches. It's different.
I don't know. But update, you're looking like if Dennis is update host or Nealon and they look over to me, I think there should be some over there, but it's not looking at me. It's all, you kind of grab them with your eyes and try to guess, but it's very hard because if you miss, and you also forget what color you are. If I'm green and I go, they go, 10 seconds, and you go, am I green?
What were you? I was red, I think.
They have different colors, and the host is always black.
Oh, and it's not consistent, right? Yeah, because on our show, on my cards, or now we use teleprompter, are black, and then Guillermo's blue, and then that's all of us. There's only 2 people.
Guillermo has lines?
Tell the cue card.
I thought he had
one. He's funny. The cue cards would tell you what the eyesight was like, not to pick on John again, but like I'd have like 10 lines on my cue card, and John would have like 2, and the letters would be like a foot high because he needed but he didn't want to wear them in the sketch. But I would say that in sketches, if I'm looking at you directly, I can kind of go, well, I don't know, and look over my shoulder and grab the line from behind me as well. Right. Phil was the best at this. At Update, I thought there was one pivoted, but generally speaking, you don't want to get in a profile with Dennis Miller. You want to stay forward as much as possible. Well, because there's no camera going to cover you there. Well, because the great thing, you're in the center of the studio. There's an audience there. You want to just face forward. I would do Grumpy Old Man or characters where I was just going to rant. And so I just went right at the cue cards. That's what was so potent about it. Right. Sandler was great at that with his guitar and everything.
Did you ever see anyone read someone else's line on the show? A line on the cue card that was not for them?
Well, when you would be in Toonces the Cat, it was a driving cat. It was a cat with Victoria Jackson. It was adorable. But she'd often just space out. Like I'd say my line, where are we going to go? And her line would be, we'll get there pretty soon. 3, 2, I'm just kicking her leg. 5, 6. We'll get there pretty soon. So she would adorably space out.
Yeah. I remember one time we were walking out for my first sketch I wrote, and Farley would do jokes around the set, how are you? He'd just do stupid shit.
How are you?
And then one time he said, I told this girl, why don't you lay me down in the tall grass and let me do my stuff? I go, okay, let's put that in there. And then we were thinking of stuff for him. And then he goes, I swallow a lot of aggression, along with some pizzas or something, whatever. So we put that in there because he was like the chubby guy in the sketch, shockingly. Yeah. And then we're walking out on air, not dressed. And he goes, I go, remember, say that one just like you said it, blah, blah. And he goes, it's your stripes. I go, what's that? He goes, that joke was in stripes. I go, that joke was in stripes? And he goes, David, it doesn't matter. And he grabs me really hard. It's all guilt. David, it doesn't. I go, 3, 2. And I go, what do we do? So he just does it. And he's looking at me like holds his face like, because I go, you. And then afterwards I go, you waited all fucking week. And he goes, I didn't wait
till a week?
It was all week. We wrote it. He waited till it was live. He goes, David, no one knows anything.
It's in stripes.
They can't trace it back to me. I go, I think they can. I think they watch the sketch.
You're not going to take the fall.
I know. He goes, you're the writer. I go, you fucking ass.
This is crazy. Listen to this lineup week to week to week. Steve Martin.
Big.
And James Taylor.
Huge.
Mm-hmm. This is to me, it's as good as it gets. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Followed by Rob Morrow and Nirvana.
I remember Nirvana.
Followed by Chevy and Robbie Robertson and Bruce Hornsby. And then the next show is Susan Day and CNC Music Factory. And then Jason Priestley and Teenage Fan
Let me tell you something. Susan Day had one of the best sketches. I saw it the other day. Someone Twittered it to me. It was the Partridge Family Battle of the Bands versus the Brady Bunch. And it was an all-cast sketch. So she's Lori Partridge, and we are... I was
David Cassidy.
Yeah, David Cassidy.
We had all the wigs on everything, and it was just like this epic sketch.
Farley was Reuben Kincaid.
Written by Melanie Hutzel.
Did she write that?
Well, yeah, or at least she played. That was her idea. Yeah.
She played Jan.
She played Jan Brady at
right on the Real Life Brady Bunch or something.
Yes,
so
she brought that character to the show, so that was a killer sketch. Susan Day was cool.
The best, I told Dana that when I watched it, I was the drummer. I didn't know I was in it, and I'm in the drummer. I go, where the fuck am I? Because Sandler's up there. He's like, it's time for a change. He was Peter Brady, and then I hear my voice. I go, oh, I'm the drummer, and then I go, they don't even have a courtesy cut to me. It's just like a wide shot, and you hear, hey, guys, we got to start rehearsing. And I go, fucking pan over, do something, move out of the way. So I see myself inching my head around Dana and go, hi there. Like, just because I go, which camera's got a red light? I got to have someone back in Arizona know I'm on and in this
And I would move. I got blacklisted from The Tonight Show because of Susan Day.
Why? What did she
Because
do?
of Susan Day.
Because of Susan Day.
Do tell.
Not directly, but we were doing a Carson that week, and she came on as Susan Day. And it was written, I didn't write it, I don't want to say it did, but it was written that Johnny didn't realize the Partridge Family wasn't still on the air. So how's that show going for you? So Danny Bonaducci, he's a real piece of work, isn't he?
He's a handful.
And that did I don't blame, did not sit well with Johnny. Monday after that show, he didn't reference it, but he said, Ed, they think we're senile. Did you know that? Oh. They think we're senile. It's time to go. So anyway, that was kind of
Did that bum you out?
Yeah, I didn't want to. I loved Johnny Carson, and I didn't want to be. Most of my stuff was benign and friendly. I loved being in that character because of the earnestness of it.
But Carcinio was a truly. It was a somewhat brutal parody of two different people at once, which you don't ever, I don't know has ever happened before.
Which awesome. Johnny recognized and said that to Leno. They're making fun of Arsenio as much as they're making fun of us. So he was smart. He got it.
Okay.
But the senile thing was a bridge too far, so I wasn't asked back. But before that, I was on a show all the time. And I was on the best of every year. I do a montage, and I'd come on.
Right.
He's dead to me, Dad.
He's dead to me.
Jimmy, when you look at that list, it made me realize that from when I started, and every Monday meeting when you go in there, it was a weird thing that I would think some people had a star thing. Like, you would see them sitting in that chair, and they would talk, and the way they handled themselves. I literally walk out of there and go, that's a fucking movie star. Like, it hit me. And some people were just blank to me. Like, they just got on that week. They
we
did
have
the
names?
Show. I know. I don't want to say names.
Who are the movie stars?
I will
You can say the movie stars.
Like a Sharon Stone is easy.
Sharon Stone.
That's easy. She comes in dressed up, gorgeous, sits there, knows how to handle herself. There's my second show or third show was Alec Baldwin's first. Black turtleneck. I just watched Hunt for Red October, where he's a star. I come in, he's got blue eyes, black hair, and he's like, how's it going? Nice to everyone, super cool. Everything about it. He was into the comedy. He would go pitch ideas with people. I just go, this guy's a fucking stud.
He's a movie star.
Yeah.
He had the hazel blue eyes, like weird blue eyes, and just super built,
And now and then someone would come by, and they're the fourth lead on Melrose Place, and you go, all right. But, they were okay. And they did fine. They did their best. No, I think Laura Leighton. I don't want to make fun of Laura Leighton, but we weren't getting the biggest stars for a year there. I remember there was a year where we started sagging where, that show. Oh, that person? No, Grey's Anatomy. They play the janitor. The janitor's friend. That guy's hosting. And so you go, oh, so it's not quite who you think it would be from that show.
Right.
And then we picked it back up again. But there's people that you see that you go, I get it.
There are some people that are, that's one of the, I think this would be a great game. Did they host SNL or not? Now, obviously, you guys have an advantage, but
I don't know. Let's see.
Here's one, and you should know because you were there.
Lightning round.
Yeah.
Did Sinbad ever host Saturday Night Live?
I'm gonna say no because it's so obvious he should have.
I don't.
I'm
going to say yes, and you were on that show with him.
Oh, Jesus, was I?
Dennis Miller goes, I was on fucking Star Search with Sinbad. We go to the final round, and I'm doing my best quality high-end material. Sinbad gets up there and goes, you ever have underpants so big and old it's just a rubber band? 4 stars. You're moving on. Yeah. And Dennis is sitting there with 2.5 going, what the fuck just happened?
Because you know what? That's funny. I mean...
it can be a rubber band.
Booty so big it drags in the sand. That was his closer.
What was that?
Booty so big... drags in the sand behind her.
No, I did a corporate with him, and he fucking blew me out of the water.
He destroys it. One time I was doing this theater, I don't remember where, and the stagehand right before I went out go, Sinbad crushed here last week. I couldn't believe it. Did he do local references? Oh, he did all of them. You know, my first 10 minutes.
Moved in here a month before.
But yeah, you don't want to follow Sinbad. That guy is...
Go ahead, keep going.
Tony Orlando.
I'm just going to say yes now because I don't.
I think we had Dawn hosting when I was there.
No, I just made that one up. I
Engelbert
don't know. I don't
Humperdinck.
have a.
We don't get the main guy.
I just thought of this idea. I wish I had the whole list, but
Rob Morrow was on Northern Exposure.
yeah, right.
He was.
Yeah.
It was a
He's a
big
great
deal.
actor.
It was.
And Nirvana. I remember Nirvana. I remember Kurt Cobain sitting in the hall with Courtney Love, out of the dressing room, just sitting in the hallway by the page desk, and they camped out there. So you just walk by, getting ready, and they're just there fiddling around. I go, okay.
Do you have much interaction with the musical guests? Because at our show, there's much more interaction with the celebrity guests than the music guests.
Your music, when I go to the show, on your show, and I like the music, they're at a stage away usually, right?
Yeah, there's a satellite.
Separate,
There's
yeah.
There are two different
So I don't really
stages.
see them. But with this, you're allowed to talk to people. They don't, I'm sure they don't love it, but they don't know everyone, so they treat everyone like they're important. They don't know that I'm some bullshit new writer. But what you can go watch rehearsal during dinner, and they do their songs, and then they go eat dinner. So I did sat, and I ate with Nirvana both times because they were younger, I was newer, and didn't know much the first time they came on, same with Pearl Jam. Second time, knew them a little better, liked them a little better. Very interesting. Everyone's sort of on the same playing field and cool to each other. So we had a great time. Now, one time, I think Cranberries were there. This is stupid, but
Yeah.
Marcy Klein was there. And they didn't, sometimes they don't do their hit song, and you get
Oh
frustrated.
yeah. Right. Yes. Yeah.
And so there's a deal with the record company. I don't know. It's above my pay grade. So I just stand there watching them, and I'm like, fuck, they're not doing Linger. And I go, all right. So I watch, and then the Marcy goes, do Linger. But they were recording it. And so she just goes, she's smoking. She's like, do Linger. And then and they were just rehearsing. So the guy goes, dee-dee, starts playing it, and then she's like, fine. You know the singer, she's Irish.
Yeah,
but her
she
Irish,
passed away,
I didn't
yeah.
know it, but it came through because she goes, she was kind of walking through it. If you, and she's like, it's just your attitude. It's tearing me apart. It's raining every day. I was like, oh, she's Irish? Like, I never heard it in the real song.
Yeah.
But when she was half-assing it, I go, I love it more.
Oh, yeah.
And then Marcy gave me a cassette of that. She goes, we taped it. I was like, oh, fuck yeah. So they should do the best of not even dress, the best of rehearsal.
The best of forced
Well, I can
rehearsals.
tell you, if you're a fan of a band, because I had a guy who was Bob Shug was his name, Eric Clapton fanatic. So then he comes out to New York. He's in the bleachers on Thursday. You're seeing Eric talking to his band. He's playing the song. He's doing this song. It's hours of immersive stuff into your idol. So that just changed his life. And then when he came back in the show on Saturday, Eric Clapton, he walked by. He was on 8H, and Eric remembered his name. Hello, Bob, how you doing? So
Wow.
that's just a really intimate thing.
What about for you guys musically? Now, obviously, Paul McCartney,
I
probably
remember Neil
everybody's
Young
answer, but
getting on. He was doing was an old man or something. One of his incredible, and I was done with the show that night. I went to the side and was watching him in a chair playing 10 feet away. You have moments like that where you're kind of like, damn, this is an incredible show.
would you have bands that then started playing at the after party? Did that happen regularly?
I think Clapton, it was good night, and then I think he played another 20 minutes, and I know that McCartney did. I wasn't there for that one. Did McCartney do an extra concert?
McCartney, when he was on our show, did 17 songs.
Shut the fuck
After
up.
the show?
After the show.
Oh, I'd kill.
17 songs. And the next
old
night,
is that
Justin Timberlake was on the show, and he was not feeling well, and he comes to me and he goes, and we were like, you got to do, we closed down the Boulevard. We're like, you got to do at least 5 shows. There's a lot of people, songs. You get a lot of people out there.
Oof.
And he's like, he goes, how many did McCartney do last night? I said 17. He's like, fuck.
He's like 6-7 years younger. There's only one McCartney.
Isn't that the best, though, when they seem to enjoy what they're doing? Because so many times that's not the case. And so many times you see them, they're reading their lyrics off a teleprompter, and you go, I know the words to this song. How is it possible that you don't?
I told Dana that when I have a long story about it, but in my hilarious stand-up act. But I went to
Is
one
it
of
on
the
Netflix now? What's the name of it?
that one's out, but this is for the new one.
What's the name of your Netflix special?
What is it?
Hey, buddy.
Gervith, what's it called?
It's called
Nobody fucking knows.
Coming Off Gay. Oh no, wait, that's
You know the name of your Netflix.
I can't even think of it.
What's it called?
Oh,
Hey,
no,
bud-
nothing personal?
Nothing
Yeah.
personal? I thought it was, hey, buddy.
So I do this Haiti, you know, the short version is I do one of those Sean Penn Haiti benefits where, you know, you bid on things.
Yeah, right.
It's like Justin Bieber in a hot air balloon ride. You know, that's like always really good. Hey, win a rocket ship to Mars with Elon Musk. I'll do that. You know, that sounds fun. But everyone's rich and it's a lot of peer pressure. And so I see tickets to McCartney front row and Springsteen. And I go, this is like up my ass, something I would do.
yeah.
So they go, it might go to, the estimate was 10 grand. So I tell my table, I've had a couple knocks in me. I go, loudmouth soup. I go, hey, I might bid on this one. It might buckle up. And they're like, is this guy with you? So I'm just talking to people that I have money. And then they go, so I have my paddle up and Sean's smoking on stage. He goes, all right, the McCartney tickets. I go, here we go. And he goes, I put my thing up. He goes, starting at 50,000. I go, what the fuck? And they go, Spade. And I go, no. I go, wait. On this, it was going to go increments. Like it would go like 1,000 and there would be an increment and then I would go.
Mm-hmm.
And what's going on with the increments? And he goes 50 and they're all looking at me. I go, no, it's just funny that it's 50. I don't care about the money. I just think it's funny. And then they go 60 over here, 70, 80 Spade. I go, all right, well, give me a second. It was 50 and talk about a markup. I think because I'm like the face value is probably 100, 500, let's say. And then I go, that's okay. So, you know,
And you could have gone to that for free.
Sure, and I'm
Yes.
like trying to be a great guy, and I'm like, actually, I don't even know, gun to my head, where Haiti is on a map. I'm like, there was an earthquake, but was it that bad? And then they go, and everyone's, DiCaprio's like, who's the cheapskate? I'm like, 80's great. And then they go, 90, 100 Spade. I go, it hasn't been 1 fucking second. It hasn't. It's a pinball.
Are you raising your paddle?
Yeah, I'm like this. Well, he keeps asking me because I'm spending.
But your paddle's up like that?
No, it's down. Now
You're
I'm
also
stepping on
probably
it.
Paddle's down?
Yeah.
Probably the only person whose name he knows in this auction, so
Right.
you're really at a
I
disadvantage.
see Charlize glaring. I go, I'm getting it. It's 100. It's 0 to me. 100 is literally 0. So then he goes, the biggest fucking scam in the business is I go, I'm at 100, and then they go 125, and I go to my table. Nobody fucking move. This is going to go away in a second. Someone's going to bid. I'm off the hook. And then he goes, Spade. I go, no. I'm the 100 guy. I won. 125. I go, this is illegal. And then everyone goes, Spade. I go, 125. So I won that, and I fixed Haiti. The good news is
won.
Haiti is fixed.
And Sean Penn is your best friend.
Yeah, and then I walked out of there like a bomb went off. I was like, ee. And they get over there and they go, Amex, ching.
The biggest scam is when they get you all the way to the top, and then they go, okay, we're going to give away
Oh, they
3 of
split
these.
it. Yeah.
Especially when you're the one, doing it. It's like, oh, really? I got to have dinner with 3 different parties? Okay, all right, I'm an asshole if I,
I
say
went to
no.
McCartney, and you get to go to rehearsal and stuff, and then I didn't really want to get up in his grill, and I didn't even tell him when we interviewed him because I felt bad, but I felt like he'd want to pay me back. So and then I met him, and he was super cool that night. So, but I don't know if he even knew. I think he was just being nice and heard I asked to meet him, and then
Did you guys do that thing with Paul McCartney where you didn't talk about the Beatles to be respectful?
Well, that's still something I have nightmares about. When we interviewed him on this show, I'd sent an email to him, just sort of to his assistant saying, well, assuming he doesn't want to come on, maybe he doesn't want to talk about the Beatles, you can talk about your friendship with Lorne and when you're on SNL. So I went in with that notion, and we were trundling along, and at one point I brought up Get Back. Mm-hmm. And then we were into the Beatles.
the documentary.
And that's all he wanted to talk about.
That's the funny thing is, I think people, and I think most people probably, you assume, he's talked about the Beatles to death or whatever, but he has no problem talking about the Beatles because I think he knows you want to hear about the Beatles.
It's very unselfish of him to to tell you things about. He was talking about John. I mean, you don't want to ask about John. You don't want to ask about things that might make him feel weird.
You know that, I'm sure, because with Farley and it's.
By the way, 0 people have a problem with it.
Well,
0. They go like this.
Really?
Remember who was that guy that died that you were really good friends with?
I always feel a little bit weird about asking about that because I know it's a heavy subject. It's not just funny stories.
We're doing a sort of a special on him, and the thing is, I don't want to dine out on Farley. I did movies with him, and I kind of didn't want to separate myself from him, but I just want to not feel like the Beatles. I don't want to feel like I don't want to talk about it all the time.
I would suggest this, and maybe this will make you feel a little better. What would make Chris Farley happier than hearing you tell stories about the funny things?
And a lot of his other friends, too.
That's true. Yeah. I would want people to say funny things, and I wouldn't want anyone to feel awkward about talking about me. And so Chris was obviously a huge part. I mean, one thing I didn't tell Dana is I used to have a phone machine, and in the old days when it was actually the weird part when it went from cassettes to digital for a minute, and then they were kind of just on your phone, but it's a physical machine. And so I realized once everyone's leaving such funny messages that I kept them, and I go, I just will have this for life. Maybe it'll be an album, maybe something one day, but it's far late. And these guys, when you have a phone machine, they just do, it's like a show. It's like Sandler. It's like beeping here. Hey, Debu. Hey, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know, just whatever. And then Farley goes, name's Spade. How's it? Good. I says. He just keeps
For
going.
like 2 minutes.
Yeah. And then there's Norm and everyone. So it's like the best of the best. I delete
great.
the ones, and I had 33. And then someone that was working on my house goes, hey, I moved your office around. I go, what do you mean? I ran in there. They unplugged it and says 0. And I go, wait, how do we? And there was no way.
Oh, no.
And it still bugs me to this day. I go, it was the best that you'll never get back.
But I think the reason Paul doesn't mind talking about it is because the Beatles songs is like a wave that was cresting, and I think they're even bigger in the last 10 years than they were 30 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it was too much incredible music, 200 masterpieces, and then it was just sort of Paul doing his stuff, and they kind of got lost. They were always huge, but now I feel like it's this 10.0, and then he decided at one point to do the songs that were traditionally considered Lennon songs. He opened up with Day in the Life. He's doing Strawberry Fields, so he's at peace with it. But I didn't know that, but we did get into about 30 minutes of the Beatles, which was great.
David, you told me a long time ago, you're on the show, that celebrities would get upset with you, and I think everybody knows the stories about Eddie Murphy or whatever, but
I never heard that.
about jokes that you would make during Weekend Update.
Hollywood Minute.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Hollywood Minute. Did you have any besides that Eddie Murphy? Did you have any uncomfortable run-ins, meetings? Did you start to?
Well, it was getting
not
to be
go places.
Problem with publicists and people, and then like anyone talk shows, you do jokes about people, and you sort of forget them that day, but you run into someone, and then you get a weird vibe, and you go, oh wait, and you have to rack your brain and go, oh boy. So the only one I remember sort of more vividly was Cameron Crowe at the show, and I'm over by the 8H desk, and then and he goes, hey, David, Cameron Crowe. And, it was back with Fast Times. He did Fast Times, Ridgemont High or whatever. He's done a ton of shit. So I said, oh, hey. And I shake his hand, and it was like slow motion. He goes, you know my wife? Or do you know my wife? And I go to shake her hand, and I go, in my head, I go, he's married to someone famous. From Heart. And it was Nancy Wilson from Heart. And she just stared at me. And she goes, you were talking shit about me and my sister. And it just stopped, and I go, what are you going to do? You make a Hollywood Minute omelet, you got to break some eggs. And I didn't know what to do. I go, yeah, sorry. And then I just sort of drifted off. And the worst part is I love Heart. And I made fun of so many people that I liked. It was a desperate move that I was kind of good at the time of doing that move to stay alive on the show. I mean, Lorne, it was probably 2 to 3 years in, and then I did a Hollywood Minute, and
did they ever?
And they laughed at read through, and then Lorne goes, "Good, you found your voice." He said it at read through, and he just said it because I sat right next to him, and I was like, "What does that mean?" I didn't really know what that meant, and then it worked, and then about a week later, he goes, "Maybe Hollywood Minute this week." I go, "Are you fucking shitting me?" Because he's never told me to do a sketch. He's never. I was just scraping to be in sketches, and then that kept me on a few more years. I didn't want to do that one too much either, but it was a good one to go to. And then I started of a someone you don't know, young blonde kid from Arizona, out of the business, just taking people's legs out, but saying what people were kind of saying, what they didn't want to say because it was all People magazine. There was only magazine was People magazine, I think, and so they were so fluffy to celebrities. So it was interesting to hear someone say something kind of negative, if it was a clever way, like when you go. MC Hammer, do, it's over. Mean. Julie Brown, wubba, my career's in trouble. So all those were kind of funny, do 10 jokes. And then.
But remember this, and Sandler had it with Opera Man, where he'd do it off the side, this and that. Then he's at home base, he's doing the subtitles, and he's having pictures. So Hollywood Minute is like, okay, Hollywood Minute. and then you would have the picture of the person,
Yeah.
and you'd be right down the lens. So like that just really serviced you
Yes.
as a comedian.
Once the crowd bought into it, then they're looking forward to it. Then I do that a few times, and then I get to a level. Then Tommy Boy came out, and then like Black Sheep, and then suddenly I'm in that sort of
You're a
area
celebrity.
of being known. And then to me, it wasn't as interesting because I go, part of the fun was it's a nobody, just
Right.
like, and then I go, I'm in this. I know careers are fragile. I get why people feel like shit sometimes with these jokes. I don't like mean jokes about me, so I go, ah. So it faded out, and then that was just toward the end anyway.
Yeah, you feel like maybe you're not punching up anymore.
Yeah.
They're your friends, so now you know
Yeah,
everybody
and
in
then
Hollywood.
you see him, then you go, I can't do that person. I did one about Aniston. I felt bad about, and then I just said, this is getting stupid.
MC Hammer hosted the show while you guys were there.
He did the reception.
He was
No, not really. He didn't.
No, he did.
No, yeah, he did.
Well, he did, and I remember I was
wanted to
kind
see
of in
him.
my heyday. I was kind of cocky, so the writers came over, and I was coming in at the end of that sketch. David was
Oh,
the
yeah, I did.
receptionist.
My first, where I go, and you are, that was my first sketch that actually worked. 5-1.
And Phil was Jesus. Was I an alien or something?
He wasn't in that one. The first one was MC Hammer. You came in as an alien, I think.
An
And
alien.
I didn't know who anyone was. And then when it came back again, it was first SketchUp. I think it was Roseanne. I think it was you, Phil as Jesus.
But I remember MC Hammer was there, and the writers were off to the side, and I was just kind of kidding around. I go, "What do you guys want? You want a big laugh when I come in, or you want an applause break? I mean, what do you want? I'll put on whatever meter you want." And MC Hammer coming from the streets, he just thought that was the greatest, man. You can't touch this. I got to admit, that song was fucking catchy.
Unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Dude, I think Vanilla Ice came on. I was rocking out as much as anyone. I mean, that song, there's some toe tappers in that room.
yeah, although the parts that are actually catchy were written by someone else and then just wrapped over, right?
Jimmy, I was willing to look the other way.
Yeah, you were. Okay, all right.
But then you couldn't do commercials then. Then he did a Taco Bell. You can't touch this. The Burrito Supreme. And now anyone could do a commercial.
You can't eat all
I missed
this.
it. The 90s, I had left a lot of money on the table.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
do that. You're Bob Dylan.
Yeah, that changed in a big way.
Danny
God,
was supposed to do, isn't that a special deal for a Big Mac? And he was like, it's too clunky. I could tighten that up.
Oh, I had Church Lady for Taco Bell. I had them all lined up.
Yeah.
I did a Super Bowl commercial when I was way earlier than I should have off SNL because I had no money, and they offered me a Diet Pepsi commercial. And then Gervitz goes, all right, it's all set. We just got to run it by Lauren. I go, why? Well, we just contract thing. I go, no. Well, it shouldn't be a problem. And then he goes, he killed it. I go, he killed my Super Bowl
It
commercial?
was after John and I did ours? It
must have been.
Yeah.
Did you mention that? Mark, what are you doing? We're going to talk to Mark after this, but
Can I tell a Super Bowl commercial
Yeah,
in 10
yeah.
seconds? So John and I we did one, it really crushed, and we're doing the second one. And it's a series of like 2-second shots. We're filming in New Orleans, we're everywhere, and it's a quick thing for American Express, and our catchphrase was, yes, that. So we're in a stadium in Miami, and we got to wear Hawaiian shirts for a 2-second shot in the stands. So I go in, there's 300 Hawaiian shirts.
To pick
So
from.
I pick one and come out with a Hawaiian shirt, and I'm sitting there, and John goes, I'll go get my Hawaiian shirt. He goes in there. He's in there for like a half hour. He comes out, goes over to me and goes, can I wear your shirt? I swear to God. I go, John, there's 300 shirts in there. Can I wear your shirt?
You got the best one.
You got the best shirt. Of course, I wouldn't take it off.
no, of
I
course
was
not.
the best one. Then that's how I teased John. Of course I got the best one. I know I got it. We both know I got
I
it.
can imagine that you were super bummed about not being able to do that
sick.
commercial. Yeah.
I think it was $250,000, and I was making about $1,500 a week on the show. Or
Is that right? Is that you're making $1,500 a week?
I made
I was
nine.
wondering about that. Like, do you ever get paid a lot to be on Saturday
I think
Night
I
Live?
started at $4,500
Yeah.
and maybe
Well, I
left
was-
at $12,500.
I was $900 because I was just a writer, and so $900 a week to write, and then I got a $1,500 bump if I was on. I think, and so, but I was fine with that. So did that, and then it got up to, then like the second year was like $3,500 a show, and then the next year $45,000. So it never got like astronomical.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds, obviously it's not a lot
of money,
for show
yeah.
business, but
When you're dreaming of riches,
and
you
you're
go,
living in New York.
It's pretty,
and-
and
Well,
LA.
yeah, there's nothing like it. One thing I'd like to just insert at this point is that for people to understand that David Spade and Rob Schneider were in the ether of stand-ups, and Dennis and I both knew them and thought they were kind of the best guys out there. I mean, I did a lot of stand-up with Rob Schneider, and I met David before and would see him at the Improv. So some people go, how did you know David Spade? Why are you doing this podcast? I go, I've known him since he was 20.
And he was another one to whisper to Lauren, like, in the talent department, like, he's good. Like,
do you remember when you met?
Yeah. Well, I was living with Kevin Nealon and Bob Duback in a house.
Did you ever live with anyone who isn't famous?
They weren't famous then, man. But my wife and I, to save money to buy a house, she was writing speeches and was working for an assemblyman out in the valley. And the rent was $300. We had a hot plate and we lived above the garage. And the dryer had no heat on it, but they just roll it for like all day long. It would roll to dry.
It was just a roller.
Yeah. So it had this little carport, and Nealon was across the way. And then I got on, pulled him in. But I met David there at that house, just hanging out.
Because I was a stand-up, met Nealon and loved his stand-up. Loved Dana, of course.
He's the best.
Dennis
Kevin,
Miller.
Right?
Yeah.
And then Dana wasn't at the club as much as Kevin was kind of grinding away, but Dana was sort of someone I didn't get to see a lot, but I just thought was great. And then Kevin goes, hey, I got SNL. Do you want to rent my room? I'm going to be gone. I said, yeah, I need it. He heard me saying I needed a place. He goes, well, I'm going to rent my room out. So we made this deal, and when he came home, he was very nice. He stayed on the couch. He let me keep the room.
He didn't take his room back.
But fucking Dana
So
Carvey
tall,
lives
too.
above the garage in my own house. So I'm like, holy shit, I get to see him. Duback's a comedian. There's a writer living there. And then, and Kevin. So when they'd come back, I would get to hear stories, not even thinking that would be somewhere I would end up. I was just like shitting that these two famous guys that I think are greater are somewhere where I get to talk to them. And so that was, I go back to Arizona and be like, I feel like I remember I saw Judd Nelson at a keg party when I was visiting LA, and I felt like I was in show business because you're in the vicinity. So you ran into someone where someone that's been in a movie was, I'm getting warmer. And that's how you think. And so I go, oh, I'm fucking talking to Dana and Kevin, and I'm at the Improv. So I'm getting at least closer to what I hopefully will do.
Yeah, Dennis Miller I knew from the clubs, and then he got on SNL. And then we played the Comedy Magic Club, and we're driving back, and then he tells me about the pressure of SNL. Christ's sakes, Carvey, it'll eat you up, tear you apart, man. I mean, there's no gig like this on earth. Honest to God, I go home crying most nights, You sure you want to do this thing? It's not good.
Don't wish too hard.
Don't
Might
wish too
come true.
But it was incredibly told to us, this is a pressure cooker like no human being has ever been in. And we got it anyway.
Does the pressure, is it ever wane? Do you feel as you get more comfortable?
You feel steadily sick, like you have mild COVID the whole run.
Really?
The whole 6 years I did it. Dennis, we'd walk in the room. He's in the writer's room. He did update, but he didn't really want to be in sketches and shit. So he would just sit there and we'd walk in and we're the new guys. So he'd haze us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Chris Rock, angry black guy. Is that it? And then
he'd go around in the room like a shooting gallery.
Tim Meadows, black guy, not even angry. You're the nice guy. What's that all about? You got nothing. Farley, fatty, fall down. Anything else? Sano, the cross-eyed guy. What's next on the docket? Spudley, zero. Where Dana? Push him off a building.
And Farley would beg him because I was with Dennis once. We say, hey, Carvey, let's stop by with the junior varsity, and they're all lined up, and Farley's like, come on, do it, And then he would do his shooting gallery, but everyone is laughing their ass off.
I get it. Yeah.
For Christ's sakes, they're not buying that hand contorted guy, But anyway,
what about the last show? Your last shows?
I remember it. That was probably the loosest I was. I think after about 80 shows, I got way more comfortable because I was having so much success and Wayne's World was cooking and everything. My last sketch that I remember, I played Prince Charles, now King Charles, who shrinks himself. Scientists shrink him down to the size of a tampon so that he can live in the trousers. Yeah.
Oh,
and I didn't know later there was a royal in England watching this crying because it was very cruel but hysterical. He gave a speech to the nation. I should be going to a place that's very dark. I should be shrinking into the size of a tampon so I can live in the trousers of my... Sounds like a Jack Handy or Robert Smigel. I don't know. But that was...
But what about... Okay, so that's your last sketch, but But what about like at the party afterwards? Was a toast made to you? Was there special attention given?
I just left in the middle of the season. You didn't get a dance or Lauren clinking champagne glasses. There was no official goodbye.
Why did you leave in the middle of the season?
That was a really stupid decision. It was because I got so hot off the show, like too hot for my own good. Because Wayne's World. All the political stuff, Ross Perot, Church, everything is cooking. Hans and Franz had a movie deal. So then there was a stupid movie for a lot of money, and I thought, well, I have to leave pretty soon anyway. I'm at a peak here. Where do I go from here?
Right.
And so that's why. And the movie was starting at such a time, but it probably wasn't the best choice. But anyway, it happened. But I got too hot off the show, and so I got offered things that I had no business doing. If I had a little less heat.
Do you remember something that you decided you had to turn down because you were on the show?
Well, I turned down a lot of things. You mean I had to turn?
Because one that kills you?
Like,
no, not really.
Post the Oscars.
I love doing
the
show. Really, I was developing Hans and Franz, The Girly Man Dilemma.
Hear me now.
Wrote that script with Conan and Nealon and Smigel and myself. And then I had Tucson, which I wrote with Bob Odenkirk, which was a really funny Western for me and John Lovitz. So I had those in development. And then they were just trundling along. So then it was taking time. And then you're offered these movies for generational wealth type amounts. And probably not a good idea, but too much heat.
How about you? Did you finish out the season?
I left. And when you leave, I think the next move is back then the networks would probably let you try your own show, like it's Spade.
Right.
And, but that's a big gamble. And there was Just Shoot Me was a Brillstein production that was
how much time elapsed between Just Shoot Me and your?
I think it was the following year we did the pilot. Yeah.
You started in 96?
So I was out of there at 96. We did. The pilot was already shot and in New York with Laura to be on the lineup. You know how that works for the upfronts.
Right.
And they called her that night and said, we're not going to have you come out, fly back home, which is so weird. Because they had 4 people and they said, we want to add something to this. So Mark and Brad Gray showed it to me and they said, do you think you could fit into this? And it's the 5th lead, but you could it's a guy from Larry Sanders, Steve Levitan. And so we all talked and I thought, I think this is safer. I'm with funny people, but there's no way they're funnier than what I just came from. So they were just great actors and they were funny too. So it just mixed well. And then I got to do that. But I did a movie, like Dana was saying, I did a movie Lost and Found during that. And if you do one movie, no matter how much heat you have, it didn't work well. And that lost all the heat in movies I had to build up over Just Shoot Me, get up for an Emmy, up for a Golden Globe.
Was Julie Bowen in that with you?
No. Sophie Marceau.
Sophie Marceau.
Because they assume, even though you're thinking they'll understand because someone is directing it, writing it, producing it. I'm just doing the best I can. I know the train has left the station and we're dying here. But it's like David Spade's Lost and Found, And
it didn't work. I mean, Sandler told me right before it came out, he goes, hey, because he knew more about it. And he goes, you got to beef up your marketing because it's not testing, it's not tracking well. It's not going to open big. And I'm like, you already know this? It's a couple days before. And he goes, because he was on Waterboy at that point. It was fucking huge. So he said, try to get your guys to do this. Anyway, it was too late. Didn't do well. I couldn't get another movie for 3 years. And Just Shoot Me had to do well. Like I said, up for a Golden Globe, up for another one, up for an Emmy. And then after all that heat, you get another shot at it. And so did another one. And then that worked better. And then it kept me around. But like Dana was saying, if you do one movie, it doesn't work perfectly, it can evaporate so much of your fucking momentum.
Yeah.
It stops you.
And it also can go the other way where you suddenly have more momentum than maybe you can handle.
I mean, I was trapped in Paradise with John and Nicolas Cage. And that one is a long story. It's a whole novel in itself, but it was stillborn. It didn't. And then I'm reading Dana Carvey's Trapped in Paradise. Like Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I'm like, what the fuck?
Why am I the face of this
was
movie?
Wandering in the snow for 6 months in Canada. I didn't even know what my lines were. But Nicolas Cage was fun to work with. He is a character.
Do you think back on those days as like, now do you think back on them in the same way you think back on going to school?
You mean SNL?
Yeah, your
Fond
classmates.
memories.
I would say that, yes, if you go back to your high school on a Sunday afternoon and just walk around the high school and maybe see some of the old pictures. Whatever that feeling is, when I go to SNL, if I'm up on the 17th floor, I'll be walking down the hall and I'll see me and Phil from 30 years ago and other pictures. And so it's nostalgic, it's melancholy, it's very odd. But mostly as time goes on, you feel very grateful for it. You know, it was the linchpin for me completely.
Sure. Nothing would happen.
Yeah. So it's just such a lucky
I see the same
thing.
thing. Go back in there and you get like your heart drops. You're like, fuck, you're walking into 30 Rock going, every time I walked in here, I was sick to my stomach. Like every time you're like, here we go. So even when you're just visiting or whatever, I only went once when I wasn't hosting or something. And it just gave me the same weird feeling. But I look at the photos and it's just like, oh my God, there's so much going on here. And sad, you see Phil who passed away, you see Norm, obviously Chris, and you just go, shit, Jan, and all the people you were with, and you're just like lucky to still be around, lucky that I had this. And you see Lauren, and Lauren is really fun to see because as tough as it was a lot in your head. Like he's thinking about you every day going, I'm going to squash this bug. And I'm like, he doesn't give a fuck. He just wants the funny sketches to be on. You guys fight it out. We're putting on a good show. And then that's just the way it's always been. And now it doesn't really matter. And then it's very fun to see him. And
I think just having been on it is so surreal because as a kid dreaming of this secretly. Yeah. I wasn't in theater arts or anything, but watching variety shows, Flip Wilson and Laughing and all those old-fashioned ones, and then seeing Steve Martin on it. And they were badass pirate rock stars, the first cast. I was in college, and they were like, oh my God, damn. And then 5 or 6 years later, suddenly I'm in their chair. I just felt like, don't we need someone besides me? That the minute I got it, I really felt incredibly nervous that I was going to be the one to ruin the show. That the show, I'd actually turn the lights out. The switch is over there, 8H. There, you just press it down because you're the one who fucking drove it into a ditch. Yeah, and that was the fear, but fear drives you. So I would say it's still. I remember George Bush Sr. saying to me, because we would hang out years later and stuff. We were friends. He goes, "I can't even believe I was president. Can hardly understand it." Really? Like it became a surreal thing to him. 15 years later. I know I was in there. I pressed some buttons, made some speeches. Very hazy. Hazy.
You don't think about the lead up when you see somebody. Like I remember seeing you on Saturday Night Live and just going like, oh yeah, there's Dana Carvey. He was born to be on this show. Yeah. He came out of the womb doing characters, and of course this makes perfect sense, but never do you think of the struggle. And I've never heard anybody say anything like that about a president, because I always assumed like guys who wind up president, with one notable exception, are planning for it when they run for the student council right. in the 8th grade. You know, they're thinking about it way back then.
He was a unique character.
Because once you hit the president, then it's over. Then he's like, this is my whole life, and then now what do? I've only tried to get to this, to be a president.
That's
so
the
afterwards,
yeah.
If it's 10 years, he's like,
if you're an SNL cast member, at a given point, you're an ex-SNL cast member. And I remember Fred Armisen, after he left, which is, you always feel like someone is doing my job, and they're doing it better than me. You know, he's like, how do you deal with that? But for me, I did not have the confidence, even with. I learned later as I went along, I go, I'm a fish in water. This is actually really, I got much, much better. I'd never done sketch comedy until the very first cold opening, which I didn't even know I was in on the very first show. Wow. Every time I got a laugh when I was doing Church Chat, I wanted to turn to the audience like a stand-up. I had to force myself to stay in the scene. So I needed to learn how to do sketch comedy. And I fell in love with it, of having Phil as a partner of Mike Myers and Kevin Nealon and stuff. So that part, instead of being a stand-up, it was just fun to be part of a kick-ass A-team. Like, everyone's great on the show.
And leaving the show, like, I didn't go to college that much, and I mean, I'm super smart, but it's
Scottsdale Community College, right?
Yeah,
were they the Pirates?
I went to SCC, the Artichokes.
The Artichokes.
Went to Arizona State.
Me too. I went there too, yeah.
See, look at this
you both
By the way,
alum?
Bill Hader moved from Oklahoma to
That's
go to
right.
community college in Phoenix. I was
what
like,
he
what?
said.
Like,
Yeah.
this is where the kids who didn't do so good in high
I'll
school
see
here.
you later, Dad. I'm
That place
going to
is-
Scottsdale.
That's like Fame, the Academy. I mean, they're like 3 made it. Now 300 million didn't.
But he wasn't aware of you guys going through there.
No, but I don't think it seemed crazy to him until I reacted strongly to that bit of news. Like,
And he
wait, you went to
transferred.
the community college down the block from my house.
It's the.
From like you traveled to go there. Everybody who
Well,
goes there.
I'm gonna
lives
leave,
with-
Ma.
Well,
I leave you now.
Like I was saying, I don't really have friends from college, but I do have friends from high school, and then I have SNL people. So
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't. Yeah,
I saw Chris Rock. I talked to him yesterday. I talked to Adam Moore. But there's guys, because of the podcast, that you get to talk to for an hour, like Bill Hader, where I would see him at a party and talk for 2 minutes. But to get the bullshit is really fun, and it's sort of reminiscing about SNL or about whatever we talk about. But that is nice to get someone trapped for an hour. You just get to catch up.
Yeah, with Bill, the revelation was how much nervous energy he had around that show. I mean, really full-fledged panic attacks, all kinds because he was so great on the show. Right up there with anybody, and just so nervous. And man, I don't know how he hit it, but it was a really big deal. And very interesting to hear about.
Yeah, you wonder what the toll, when at the end of it all.
Well, I had a blocked artery like 3 years later, so besides my
It's like
genetics,
COVID, where you go, do I have long SNL?
yeah. No, I would go. They'd say 3, 2, 1. I'd be Bush because I did so many in ones, and the whole show's riding on me, and I've got 9 minutes of dialogue, and my heart would be just pounding out of my chest. But you have to try to relax. With the
you're
church thing, I
flying
couldn't
after.
pick up things. My hands were so sweating, I couldn't pick up pieces of paper. In the early days, for sure, it was just too fucking nerve wracking. But we fought through it.
It's not just like. I mean, ultimately, it's like you want to be funny. That's number one. You want to be funny, but also like, as you mentioned earlier, like sometimes the future of your whole family is riding on this.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
what am I gonna do if this doesn't work?
And if I didn't kill in the clubs, then I didn't get to the middle act. If I didn't kill there, I didn't get to headline, and then the middle act's trying to knock me off. I came in with the mindset of a stand-up. Like, I don't want to just get laughs. I want to levitate. I want to destroy the room, for better or for worse. That was my where I was
Rape
thinking
and
all the
pillage.
time, or else I'm going to get fired, or I'm not going to be in the show at all. So you had to really, really strategize about that.
And if people, parents, relatives, when you say you're a stand-up, that's all good and well. It's not as impressive to go, oh, I just did Gutbusters and we filled up the Late Show Friday. Oh, I'm at Side Splitters in Mississippi. And they go, great. And then you go, oh, I'm got on SNL. Then it just perks people up. They're like,
it's
oh,
something
wait,
they know, and
something works.
They can easily explain to their friends. You know,
that
like,
and going on Johnny Carson. I got on once. He's been on a lot. But
that's the surrealness
That's a
of
big one.
when you go on television, Carson or SNL. Yeah, how it affects everyone you know. And then it's starting to happen, and you're starting to get famous, and someone's asking for your autograph. All of that is like you're like in a dream state, in a sense. It's like, wait a minute, I got on SNL. I'm actually doing well. What? I still haven't wrapped my. I can't believe I was on SNL.
yeah.
It's all crazy. Well, that
crazy
was
stuff.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I love talking to you guys. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for
You will
letting
get
me.
paid for the extra half hour.
Okay, well, okay, good. I have no
Yeah.
sense of time. I don't know.
I know,
How,
I
did
just
we
looked,
talk
I go,
too long?
I have no. It was.
Do it all day. Appreciate it, Jimmy.
We loved
that
it,
was fun.
and thank
Thank
you for doing this. We know you have another job, but thanks for doing it. We also have a studio up in Santa Ynez above Santa Barbara, and we'd like to invite you to drive up there and interview
Sure,
us
yeah.
in a couple months.
Just all over the country.
Well, we'll get a couple of microphones. We'll tape the whole drive. Yeah.
So, but anyway, no, thanks for coming. Thanks
for
coming
having
to
me.
fly
I
on the wall.
appreciate it.
Jimmy Kimmel, ladies and gentlemen. Christ's sakes, this guy Gus is everywhere.
Hey, what's up, flies? What's up, fleas? What's up, people that listen? We want to hear from you and your dumb questions.
Questions, ask us anything you want.
You can email us at flyonthewall@cadence13.com. All right, guys, we got a question here from Dave Castelletta. Guys.
Castaneda, I think.
Dana, not now. Not here. Not now. We're trying to start the year
Look,
off.
I want to say, if I'm reading better than you, what does it say about your
Wait,
eyesight?
where's my shade?
I've got sunglasses on.
Dave, did I get that right?
Yeah,
Dave,
there was an L in there.
Love you both, and I love the podcast. This is a great question. It keeps going.
I like this guy's opinion.
In your post-SNL years, have you ever come up with a sketch idea? Yeah? And if so,
Yes.
what do you do with them? Garbage. Do you ever share the ideas with current cast members? Just wondering. You two are the best. I like
No,
when they
you don't
begin with a
share.
compliment.
You don't share them because then they would score and get laughs. And where would you be?
No, I know. I did for a while. I would call them in. I would say, I actually did it recently. Dan Boole is a writer there that I like, and he's the only one I really talk to that's a writer.
Okay.
But I do like that idea. It was very hard when he left because the pressure was off. So you'd sometimes go, oh, here's a good angle on what's going on in the news, or here's a funny commercial parody. Or, I'm sure it was dog shit. But, sometimes I'd call him in. I don't think it's ever come to fruition. Even when you go to host, I don't know if you did this, Dana, a lot of people come with, a few people come with a writer. Like they get nervous.
Yeah.
Like if they're a comic or they're from a show, they say, I'm going to bring two of my guys, Jamie Foxx or someone,
Yeah, yeah.
And it's such a different kind of animal to go write a sketch and fit in with all what they're doing. They're not really against it there. It's so hard to make it work. But a host understandably gets nervous. And they go, these people know my sense of humor. I think I did it when I went there. I think I went in with a sketch idea. It doesn't always make it to the finish line, but they definitely do it. So the question is,
after I did it with Bill Hader, and he did that Italian guy, right? A little bit that thing, and then he had Fred Armisen. But I got it. I thought I would go in and be like the 100-year-old patriarch who would just be like, but then I would mime out violent things for the guests. And just didn't call them and say, you should have someone else do that. Jason Sudeikis could have crushed with that.
Oh, you didn't call him? Oh, I thought you were hosting. If you hosted, you could have jumped in on that.
I know. I was a little shy about it. The one that I thought of fairly recently was the world's first sociopath, which is like there must have been sociopaths during primitive man times. During the hunter-gatherer stage. Hey, you guys, what are you doing? Oh, okay. Are you hunting or gathering? Don't just sit around. Either hunt or gather or get the fuck out. And then it's like later on, he goes, where's Bob? I don't know. Well, what's that hand coming out of the ground? It's Bob, I think. What'd you do? I hit him with a rock. Am I weird? Am I strange for one? I have these compulsions of killing things. Am I weird? And the guy goes, no, not at all. I mean, sometimes at night I just cut myself. I don't know what that means. Maybe some sort of free association anxiety. Well, Steve, I mean, he always waits till the grapes rot and then drinks the juice and dances around for hours. I don't know. Are we weird? Sounds like I'm... Anyway, so I didn't send it to SNL.
You didn't send it to
But I had that on stage because I can only do sketches in small rooms. I killed it one night. Had it perfect. I'm a little rusty, but I love SNL. But generally, if we had a friend there...
Yeah.
It directly, like remember when I had left and I told you to do Hollywood Minute?
Yeah. I actually did one for Sandler. I thought one I thought was really good for Sandler. I can't remember it now, but I said, I think you'd be good at this. But by the time I think I called it was the midweek. And, after that writing starts, it's just too hard to start from scratch. But anyway, he did fine. Okay, thank you for your question. And let's see what sunglasses we have on next week.